Oh, hey, good evening, everybody. I'm Sheila Gunn Reid, and I'm proud to welcome you to our first ever New Brunswick election live stream coverage. Joining me is my friend, member of the Real Housewives of the Culture Wars, my friend, Lise Merle. She's a former broadcaster from Saskatchewan, mom of 6, Regina Public School Board candidate, and Canada's viral Get Off My Lawn mom. Lise, how's it going?
Well, it's going great, Sheila. I'm so happy to be here again. Hello, Rebel fam. And good evening to our New Brunswick brothers and sisters who are in for a ride tonight, according to the polls.
Yeah, the polls are not optimistic for Premier Blaine Higgs, although it looks like the two front-running parties, so the Liberals' Susan Holt, Conservative incumbent Blaine Higgs, they are within the statistical margin of error of plus or minus 5 points between each other, according to 338. So I was drilling down on the 338 data earlier, just before we came on the air. And it looks like they've got the Liberals at 45% of the popular vote, plus or minus 5, and the Conservatives at 39% of the vote, plus or minus 5. So that's sort of, they could be statistically tied. And then the Green parties, that's David Kuhn is the leader there, polling at 11%, and the NDP are basically non-existent out on the East Coast. The votes sort of coalesce, at least in New Brunswick, around the Liberal Party, the progressive votes. But if you look at the projected seats, it's 25 seats for a majority. They have 49 seats in their legislature. The Liberals are projected at 20 to 33, and the Conservatives are at 14 to 28. So they're within neck and neck of each other.
Yeah. And Blaine Higgs has a little bit of a hill to climb because he's looking for a third term, and that hasn't been done since 1995 in New Brunswick. So it seems like New Brunswick has a pretty short attention span as it comes to the leadership of their province. And he has a pretty steep hill to climb, but the stakes couldn't be higher. The stakes couldn't be higher for the people of New Brunswick. On the table is a slate of promises by the Liberals, which they will need boatloads of money to pay for, and nothing short of parental rights, the way their education system is going, and healthcare itself. Oh, there's Susan Holt. There she is.
There's Suze. She looks more of a Suze to me than an actual Susan. Olivia, I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit. Let's reintroduce Lise to the world, because I love this. It was just a viral Canadian heritage moment, actually, for a lot of people, especially after Canada Proud picked it up. Your Mother's Day was interrupted by the local NDP candidate. And just to put it into context, not the first time that he had been there. And you asked him a question that is on the minds of Saskatchewan parents, but also on the minds of New Brunswick parents. And then he answered the way you would expect an NDPer to answer, and you answered the way a mama bear of 6 is expected to answer. Take a look at this, Canada. This is my co-host and my dear, dear friend, Lise.
You believe that teachers should keep secrets from parents?
I may not agree with you, but
do you believe that teachers should keep secrets from parents?
Yes.
You do believe that they should keep secrets from parents?
Parents
Get
are-
off my lawn.
Thank you, Ren.
You believe
Lamb. Get off my lawn, Mom. You know, that should be your campaign slogan for Regina Public School Board, just your smiling face, get off my lawn.
Get off my lawn. Quit encroaching on my rights as a parent. Yes, that. No, that was an incredible moment, Sheila. And as soon as you know, they had been, again, you had said they had been to our house several times before, and they had been invited to leave several times before. Actually, the first time he came, I was incredulous that he was even running for the NDP. I mean, you have to be a certain level of depraved to run for the Saskatchewan NDP. Well, for any NDP, but especially for the Saskatchewan NDP. And I had invited him not to come back twice. And so I thought, well, if he comes back again, I'm going to have a barn burner of a question. And I did. And as soon as I slammed the door, I realized that I had it on the ring cam. Like, I realized it was that this was just a golden gift from the NDP, and it was, because over 1 million Canadians saw that moment, and now have that question for when the NDP comes knocking on their door several times. But at what point, like, I'm just wondering, at what point does it become harassment? Like, they show up at your house numerous times. You tell them that there is not a snowball's chance in hell you will ever vote orange, and yet they come back, and yet they come back, and yet they come back. I mean, at what point is it considered harassment?
Well, and the reason I wanted to show that is not just the fact that it was just an incredible, like, chef's kiss moment of a mom just giving the what fors to an NDP candidate, but this is a huge issue in the New Brunswick election.
Yes, it is.
You and I watched the Saskatchewan debate together with thousands of our Rebel News friends last week, but it's called Policy 713 in Saskatchewan, or in New Brunswick. That's their version of Saskatchewan's Parents' Bill of Rights. And it basically says that, well, first of all, Blaine Higgs rightly outlawed all these third-party sex ed groups from being allowed to come into the classroom. And it's a parental consent law, which the left doesn't like. And they, as Rebel News reported last week, radically different approach from the Liberals. They want, Susan Holt says, it's the teacher's job to find a path forward with professionals with that child in their best interest that supports the conversation and ensures a safe environment at home. The Liberals' approach would adjust the parental consent requirement, and so that it would be kids as young as 12 could be socially transitioned in the schools. And of course, professionals would say if your child has capacity, not you.
We know that after the release of the CAS report in England this last year, that social transition is not a neutral act. As a matter of fact, all of the backup says that positioning children to make this decision that puts them on a medical pathway is inherently harmful to the child, especially because we know the medical pathways have been streamlined, especially through COVID. I mean, the way that our healthcare system learned to operate in their closed networks and in their closed healthcare loops through COVID is extraordinarily dangerous for children. And if, God forbid, Suze Holt becomes the next premier, becomes the next premier of New Brunswick, I'm telling you right now, what you're going to see is a mass exodus out of public education, because how can parents trust institutions that would make decisions that are inherently against the values and beliefs of the family, inherently against the health and well-being of the child, and do it without the parents' oversight? It is egregious that they would have taken this position, but they're Liberals, so, like, of course they did.
Yeah, so the Liberals want to make it 12 without parental consent, and the Greens just want to make it the same old free-for-all it was before Policy 713. I can't believe these people are campaigning on this issue. Data from Second Street. So that's sort of a right of center think tank. I wouldn't even call them conservative, but Second Street sanctioned a poll that said, and this number seems remarkably low, but I think it probably highly weighted people in Ontario. Second Street sanctioned poll said that 57% of Canadians believe schools should inform parents if their child even discusses changing their gender pronouns or transitioning. Only 18% disagreed with the statement, while 25% didn't know. And as it turns out, this is a problem nationwide. Sorry to interrupt you. Nationwide, most schools are not legally required to inform parents about gender transitions.
That needs to change. That needs to change across the nation with the next Conservative government. Like, without question, that needs to change, because not only does this have a devastating impact on families, but it throws families into such chaos. Sheila, the part that is so heartbreaking, as a trustee candidate in Regina, are the stories that I hear from parents every single day, the way that their families have been negatively impacted by these decisions that their children are making outside of their eyesight. I talked to, just real quick, let me tell you a real quick story. A dad contacted me and said, are you free to meet for coffee? I said, yeah. And so we met for coffee, and he said his daughter declared herself to be non-binary, and at the time he didn't even know what non-binary meant. And
no one does.
No. Well,
he's normal.
That's just it, right? And so he started doing his homework, and he fell down the rabbit hole, and then he described a situation that went like this. She went from being non-binary to changing her name, changing her pronouns, going through extreme sort of, we'll say superficial body changes, and he didn't really even know what was happening until her voice dropped 2 octaves and she started to get combative and violent in his home. And here this child had changed schools without his knowledge, changed schools without his knowledge, so that she could then participate in the support groups that are being that are being propagated throughout our schools. And this is a man at the very end of all of his ropes. I was the first person in 2 years that he had confided in, and he described his own life as a living hell for 2 years, a living hell. And I'm hearing these stories every single day. It's incredible that this is happening in Canada. It is just incredible.
Well, and if you even take the gender wars politics out of it, and the culture wars, because really, if you're going through this, I know how you vote. Like I know. Like, if you're someone who is okay with this stuff, I know exactly how you vote, because this stuff breaks down along party lines. But even if you take all that stuff out of it, these people keep telling us that they are doing this in the interest of the kids. If you think that keeping this information from a parent makes that child more safe, you have another thing coming, because we know that kids struggling with gender identity are at greater risk of suicidality. We know that for sure. Now,
they always have comorbidities that add to this complication. We have autistic kids. We have kids that have experienced every kind of trauma under the sun.
Right.
Kids that have suffered sexual abuse and physical abuse and neglect, and and kids that are neurodivergent, kids that have processing disorders. We know that these are the kids that are most susceptible to this messaging and this ideology, when it's being floated as a solution to their problems, when it is anything but a solution to their problems.
Well, and the point that I was going to make is, if you have a kid who's at great risk of suicidality, why wouldn't you want the parent to know? So you have an extra set of eyeballs on them at home. Instead, you're going to have parents blindsided with kids who are making suicide attempts because a parent or because a teacher is withholding vital information from a parent in the name of ideology. Now, this is not what the show is entirely about. As you know, we're here to cover the New Brunswick election. But this is such a huge issue right in the middle of it. The polls close in 16 minutes. Olivia, I am going to call for a clip. It's Blaine Higgs Rosie Barton. Rosie Barton weighing in on this issue. I don't even know if Rosie Barton has kids, but she gives strong childless mom vibes. And she weighed in on the side of experts who are calling New Brunswick policy of requiring parental consent for students under the age of 16 transphobic. Blaine Higgs is having none of it. So let's look at how surly she is. Anyway, let's go.
Do you have a problem with the idea of gender dysphoria?
Well, my position, Rosemary, is not the issue in that sense. My position as a grandfather and as a father is that I think that kids in especially these vulnerable years in elementary school years, are let's say toddlers being exposed to, well, I may not be a boy or girl. That is the role that parents need to play a role. Those are very formative years, and so how do we ensure that everyone understands what is being presented, what's in the school system, and then we work through it.
Sure. But I guess I'm wondering, Premier, if your personal views are influencing your policy decisions, because it sounds like they are.
No, Rosemary, it's not about my personal views at all. It's about a role as a parent and a grandparent, and thinking about my grandchildren now that would be attending school, and the fact that her parents would not know what she was being taught or what information was being supplied. Because I think most parents, take for granted that the school system is doing everything that they would approve of. But there's so many things that parents are asked to have their consent on, so many things, and yet gender identity is not one of them.
But do you understand that there are children who would not be comfortable telling their parents that, who would not feel safe having that conversation with their parents? And so school would be the safe place for them to identify in the gender of their choosing.
I do understand that, and that's why our goal is to put a process in place and work with parents and children and teachers and the guidance counselors, the professionals, to help us build a plan in place, a plan that allows for the child to be protected, and a plan that eventually would have parents involved in supporting their children, not alienating the parents and the child, but finding a way to bridge the gaps that exist in maybe they're certainly how they're thinking.
There are critics, as you know, that say that this policy is transphobic.
First of all, can I just say that Rosie Barton is the human equivalent of a canned ham? Okay, she is the human equivalent of a canned ham. So I messed up my hair, like trying to pull it out in that moment. But can we stop just for a second? Labeling parents as somehow unsafe. Like parents are too stupid to understand these complex issues around gender. It is ridiculous the way that they fall back on that. That's their only argument. And I've never heard anything so crazy in my life.
I've got a real tough time with these self-sterilized weirdos who don't have kids for 100 different reasons, from climate change to the fact that they're taking cross-sex hormones, or to the fact that they're just lonely and unpalatable to the opposite sex, that they're telling me that I somehow don't love my children because I don't think that a child can magically change their gender, and I don't think surgical interventions fix mental health issues, that I don't love my child. Mm-hmm. It's the soft bigotry of low expectations from these people, isn't it?
Isn't it? Yes. And how easily they would denigrate parents, and say, well, kids might not be safe with their, with telling their parents their gender identity. The reason why the left doesn't want parents to know is because they know parents will guide their children back to the truth. And that is the reason why they don't want parents knowing, and why they're fighting tooth and nail, when really what we should be talking about is is the fact that the left is attempting to sterilize and mutilate children that aren't theirs. That is what we should be concentrating on. And every time they bring up that argument about, parents being unsafe or non-accepting or somehow, non-supportive of their children who are making these insane and crazy ideas outside of the sightline of parents, we should remind them of that. We should remind them of that. Parents know their children best.
Well, and these, perhaps Rosie does not know unconditional love. Perhaps she's put conditions on the love that she has for her cat, but she does not understand that when your kids come home with problems, you love them unconditionally and you want what's best for them, and you don't need somebody from the state or some activist group or some teacher who sees your kid as a paycheck and somebody to alter socially and societally. They don't know what's best for my kid. I do. I know all the little bits of my child and all their little quirks and weirdness.
That's exactly right. And in no way should a temporary and transactional staff member of any school division or of any school ever be able to make decisions with children that impact the rest of their lives without the parents' knowledge and consent. Never, ever. The whole point being, they do not have the best interests of the children at heart. They have the best interests of their ideology at heart. And they, the harms will always follow these decisions and will always fall to the parents to pick up the pieces. And I think that increasingly, especially in Saskatchewan and Alberta, we are just not having it anymore. And I really hope the same for New Brunswick too. If Susan Holt becomes premier, it will be a nightmare day for all parents in New Brunswick starting tomorrow.
Yeah, that's for sure. As I said before, these people are like zombies, because zombies or vampires, they can only proliferate their disease by biting and infecting somebody else. And so these people don't have children of their own. They have to infect yours with their pernicious disease of an ideology. We've got more from Blaine Higgs on this, and this isn't the only thing we're going to talk about, but this is like the one big one right in the middle of it.
We're passionate. We're passionate. We're going to talk about it more. But yes.
Frankly, Blaine Higgs was out first on this issue. Blaine Higgs on CTV News talking about the same thing, Policy 713 that Suze plans to roll back.
Anyone who's been following this debate, this issue over the past number of weeks might get the impression that this has become a personal issue for you. Has it? And if so, why?
Well, Todd, I don't know that it's a personal issue any more than I'm a father, I'm a grandfather. I have 5 grandchildren, and when I think about what they are, exposed to in today's world and the opportunities, I think parents need to play a big role in their upbringing and their future. And so what I think in the case here, many parents in our province were unaware of this policy, did not know that it actually would allow teachers to keep information from their child's activity at school. And I say activity in terms of having a different name at school than they would have at home, a name that they felt they had a different gender identity at school than they had at home. So what we're saying is we're just going to find a way to work with professionals, guidance counselors, and let them help us to help the child, but to help the parent as well understand the situation. And then we go from there.
So what happens now if a child under 16 wants to be addressed by a different pronoun or name at their school?
Well, there won't be a hidden identity at the school that is kept from parents, but at the same token, it won't be just a quick call to the parents either. It'll be a setup with the counselors and with that child to work through the issues and to understand the situation, and then understand the situation at home. And so when the time is right, then the parent can certainly will be engaged in how to manage the go forward path for their child. To do it in secret in the school system without the parent being involved or have any understanding, that is not the right thing to do. And to create any sort of unsafe situation for the child in the school, that is certainly not right to do. So I'm comfortable that we can find that the right time when a child wants to speak with their parents we can find the ability for that to happen.
Premier, we appreciate your time here tonight. Thank you.
That's a perfectly reasonable response to all of that. But I love how it's now 2 journalists in a row trying to say, this is a personal thing for you. This is a vendetta for you, isn't it, old man Higgs? Instead of just like, no, this is like a completely reasonable position that normal people should take.
Yeah, it's almost like the mainstream media had a great big old powwow and asked or decided on what they were, how they were going to label him and how they were going to advance this. But really, when you are a family being impacted by this issue, it is intensely personal. And not only should parents be involved if a child is struggling with their identity, but a parent should have the ability to completely opt their child out of any circumstance. That means any class, any teacher, any school, any circumstance that would subject their child to this pernicious and really damaging ideology. The ball has to come back in the parents' court. And I feel like Canadian parents are increasingly becoming aware of just how much overreach the education industry in Canada has gone. Really, in our absence, it accelerated through COVID in a way that I can't even begin to explain to the people of Canada. Closed circles, little closed group, secret societies of teachers and bureaucrats and government officials that all decided that this was the correct course of action, and to subject children to this. Like, we're talking really little children starting in kindergarten and right through the teen years without parents knowing is really unforgivable. We need to dial this back to 0 in Canada, to 0.
Now, I should tell everybody, if they have any opinions on what we're talking about here, if you are watching on YouTube, thanks for sticking it out there. I'm happy to see our YouTube numbers growing there despite YouTube's censorship. But if you want to have your say and support the work that we do here at Rebel News completely willingly, might I suggest you head on over to Rumble. It's a great free speech platform that actually doesn't care about your politics, which is unusual because these people usually only allow speech for people that they agree with. I don't know what Rumble's politics are, and I kind of like it that way. So you can do something called a Rumble rant over there. It's their paid chat, and if it is over the $5 US cutoff, I am officially obligating myself and my friend Lise to read it on air and respond to it as best we can. But don't let that be the bar for entry. If you make a chat that's lower than that, if we have time, and I feel like we will, because this show is just a big pile of killing time until the results come in. So if your Rumble rant is lower than the $5 US cutoff, we'll probably have time to read it on air. Or if it's insightful but unpaid, who knows? You might just see your chat read on air. So get chatting, get sharing the stream, bring your friends on to chat there with you. And I think that's it. So please help. What I'm asking you to do, friends at home, is to help us kill a little time while we wait for the results to come in. But we do have lots of clips. I think we'll finish up this topic with a couple more clips, and then we'll move into energy affordability. Lise and I are both from oil and gas producing provinces, so we know a lot about this stuff. Our provinces are leading the fight against the carbon tax. And but before we do, let's go to the third one on the list, Olivia. Blaine Higgs, even using the right LGBTQIAS2S plus. Anyways, this is a clip from Blaine Higgs saying that despite what the worry warts and the Rosie Bartons with her big wide neck say, he is going to do his best to create a safe and welcoming environment, not just for students, but also for parents.
So the discussions around 713 are directly related, Mr. Speaker, to the control and the knowledge that parents have of what their kids are learning, what their kids are doing, and how they're progressing as they mature, Mr. Speaker. It also talks about sports, Mr. Speaker, and how that works with the new transgender society that we live in. So we can be respectful, we can understand the issues, and we can make it work for everyone, Mr. Speaker. And then at the curriculum and what's being taught to the kids, so parents really know about it. Mr. Speaker, this review is very limited to the issues at hand, Mr. Speaker. So the
I mean,
What a
it's hard to
beaut.
believe. Yeah, what a beaut. I can't believe
What a
they're not going
beaut.
to vote for that guy. They better vote for that guy. He's like your happy grandpa who just wants to make sure that you don't get hassled on the playground. Like, I don't, and he's strong on most energy policies. I think you have to walk a fine line in the Maritimes, I think, more so than, like we're just rootin' tootin' drill, baby drill out here. You got to be a little more balanced in the Maritimes because, people still get some of their news from the CBC out there. But I mean, he's just saying, like, look, all we want to do is tell parents what's going on in their kids' lives. And you are a weirdo, by the way, if you think that that's an unreasonable policy.
You are a right crazed left lunatic if you think that is the wrong approach, because there should be no secrets between parents and children ever. There should be no secrets between parents and children ever. Parents should have every experience and every person that's influencing and every topic that their children are being introduced to. If it doesn't, because here's the thing. Parents always have the best interests of their children at heart. And if it doesn't pass the parent sniff test, then it shouldn't pass at all. And only until the last 5 minutes ago did we as a society shift gears on this and go, no, what? We're going to let the experts determine what's best for the children. Absolutely not. The parents are the experts.
And our next clip from Higgs says as much. He basically says what we've been saying. He says, isn't it amazing that in today's world, far right means just being a normal mom? Take a listen.
It was an issue that, for someone like me who doesn't follow New Brunswick politics explicitly, and I'd say probably has done so a little bit more thanks to you and stuff you've been doing there, it was not something that was really accurately defined by the media, what you did. I think before I read the actual... Yeah, it is. Well, as we heard from the last panel, it's okay. They should have just been reading The Line and other outlets like that. But you were doing something that was a relatively moderate proposal. And even a lot of people that are in the parental rights space that have been advocating for something similar were saying, well, it's a compromise. He's not going far enough. It's a good start. But you were, to the activists that were against you, it was as though you had gone so far. You had done something so radical. You had done something so far right, is the term. I mean, did you ever imagine that you would be labeled as far right when you were elected as premier, going back to 2013? And why is this issue one that has been maligned in that way?
Well, just recently I was asked about a case of the far right, and isn't it amazing that in today's world, far right is having parents involved with their kids? Isn't that amazing? So I say that tells you how far the spectrum has actually moved and how we need to find a path forward. But in analyzing kind of what we wanted to bring forward is let's address this. And then looking abroad, looking what's going on in Europe, particularly what's going on in Europe, about how they manage real issues around gender dysphoria, but how they look at it as, getting the right process for treatment and through psychologists, psychiatrists to understand, okay, how do we manage this? Because it in some cases it's very real. But in other cases, it's a process of kids growing up, and that's where parents are that one continuum in their life. And so we just say, okay, we want parents to be involved. And no, I didn't imagine it would be such a controversial issue because it seems like such a basic, fundamental principle that we all cherish.
What a beaut.
I know.
What a
I know.
beaut.
I know. And he's not wrong.
No, this is not breaking news to any parent. P.S. I mean, this has come as such a shock to parents to see that we've been questioned about the importance of our own role in our own children's lives. I mean, only up until about 5 minutes ago has this become a real thing. But really, what it is, Sheila, is a push by the socialists and the communists to take control of the family, because when you look back in history, that's exactly what they've done every single time, because they know that if they can get the children, then they've got the society in one generation. And this is why it's so important for Canadians to shut this down, really shut it down and rewind it to a place where families are honored as the core group of our society and our nation, is because if we don't, in one generation, we are unrecognizable as a country and as a civilization. So,
well, just look at the schools these days. They are unrecognizable from when we were there.
Oh, Sheila, I mean, they're unrecognizable. Our two oldest kids are 29 and 22, and they went to the same school division that our youngest four go to, and it is an absolutely staggeringly different experience than that they had as the older two and as the four youngest are having. The way that we've hyper focused on social justice issues, on political activism, on critical race theory, on climate alarmism, on sex and gender, on name your social justice issue. Our schools have been taken over by socialist communist ideas. And anytime you hear the word DEI, anytime you hear the word DEI in education in Canada, and it has run rampant, that is just cleverly rebranded communism. Just like KFC. Remember, KFC used to be Kentucky Fried Chicken, and they rebranded to KFC to look nicer to the chickens. Well, DEI is just a it's just a clever rebrand of communism and socialism that's been made palatable. I mean, we wouldn't have accepted if they said, right, we're going to unroll education in Canada to conform to socialist standards. Everybody would have been up in arms. We would have stopped it in its tracks. But because it came in under this friendlier name and this new shiny thing, well, then we were less suspicious. And we should listen. All of us need to be very suspicious about what's happening in education in Canada.
Now, I think that takes us into the last video so far on this. I'm sure we might have to dig some more up as we continue to do our best to kill time while the results roll in. We are 6 minutes past the polls closing, so we should see some of those relatively soon, but I was reliably informed that those Dominion vote tabulators in BC would make things a very quick work of the election, and there I was on the live stream at 1 a.m. So who knows?
Sorry, buddy.
We still don't know. We still don't know. Let's go into this next one, and this speaks to my comments about the bigotry of low expectations against socially conservative and just level-headed parents from the activists on the left. From Blaine Higgs, please.
What we found is that parents didn't know. Parents did not know that in the education system, children are being taught to lie to their parents. They didn't know that, and now they know. So it's a pretty sad situation, really. And yes, we have a plan for that. But the system today basically suggests that all parents are delinquent, and I just don't believe that. Parents have.
Yeah, that was the old policy, that all parents are delinquent. All of us.
Isn't that wild? Isn't that wild? No, they really do refer to all families as dysfunctional. This is what our education industry in Canada has devolved into, is labeling as all families as dysfunctional and labeling our children as people that they have to fix or to make good people. Parents are delivering little monsters to education, little monsters. And it is the job of education to make them good people. When in fact, the people of Canada are delivering perfectly created little humans into education that do not need this kind of communist re-education when they show up at school. What they need is to learn math and to learn literacy skills, critical thinking, problem solving, life skills. This is what we as parents want. And yet we have this public education sector that has just gone right off the rails.
Yeah, we used to have to abduct people off to the re-education gulag. Now the yellow bus picks them up at the end of the driveway every day. They pack a lunch kit and off they go.
Isn't that the most terrifying thing that you could possibly think of? I mean, being a parent in Canada, 10 years after Justin Trudeau became prime minister is unrecognizable from when he first took office. It is an unrecognizable hellscape for parents right now. You know, in the United States, their Surgeon General has declared parental stress as a national health emergency. And then you start to hear stories like this and you kind of understand why. It's because parents have been described as ignorant, as hateful, as bigoted, as homophobes, as transphobes, as, you know, fill in the blank of your leftist insults. And they've been labeled all of these things by the public institutions that are meant to serve them. It's crazy.
It is crazy. Now, I think it's time for about a 90-second ad break. We can run off. I'm going to go grab a pepperoni stick. You probably need to go have a quick hit of nicotine. And we'll meet back here in about 90 seconds, all right?
See you in a minute.
What if governments are trying to reinvent the wheel when the greatest teacher of all times has already laid out the perfect blueprint for a constitution for a kingdom of love, faith, and freedom? Introducing the Kingdom of Heaven Freedom Passport. This special edition Freedom Passport captures the foundational truths of love, ethics, and freedom for all. It's a powerful reminder of Jesus's call to love one another and to be part of something bigger that you can carry with you every day. Join the movement, share the truth, and spread the love with your family and friends. Get your Kingdom of Heaven Freedom Passport at freedompassport.ca. And right now, all orders in North America come with free shipping and a free downloadable song with every purchase.
Quality of life matters. Affording groceries and the basics matters. Ottawa has a different agenda. Their energy production cap will cut your family's budget, which means less money in your wallet. We say let common sense prevail. Tell the feds at scrapthecap.ca.
I'm in Brazil, so I'm using a VPN to get on the internet. What's a VPN? It stands for a virtual private network, and you get around these government firewalls. Suddenly, the president of Brazil banned his whole country from going on Twitter. It was a political censorship news. I've downloaded the VPN from a company called PIA VPN. We've teamed up with them at Rebel, and it's a great deal. I got on the internet really quickly, safely, and even I'm a bit of a technophobe. I managed to figure it out with 2 clicks. And here's the great news. If you go to piavpn.com/Rebel News, not only do you get a big discount, but they pay us a bit of a commission too. Everyone's a winner. Your freedom, your VPN, and a little bit of cash coming to support Rebel News. I'm using it myself to get around the censors in Brazil. You can use it too. That's piavpn.com/Rebel News.
Why should you join Canada's National Firearms Association? We currently have one of the most aggressively anti-firearm governments in our nation's history, promoting fear and placing blame like never before. Our rights, freedoms, culture, and heritage, it's all on the line. But we are fighting back, and there is strength in numbers. We work within the law to change the law, to defend competitors, hunters, collectors, and other law-abiding firearms owners. We can get through this. We've done it before, and we'll do it again, if you are with us. Canada's National Firearms Association. Freedom, safety, responsibility.
Okay, I see that the ballots are slowly starting to be counted. Elections New Brunswick needs some help with their website. It is not very interactive, and it doesn't show like where It doesn't give like a breakdown. You have to click on everything and then click through. Like, come on, you guys. I wanted to be able to see the votes come up. Like, I just want to look at it, but no, you have to like pick the riding, click on the riding. Like, Olivia, can you just do one? Pick on the first one.
This looks like a
click it, and then
from 1985.
Yeah, and so now you have to go through each one individually. There's got to be a better way, you guys. Look at this. And then so I want to be able to see like a line item where I can look at it and then I can see how it is. Like BC last night. No, you got to click through everything. This is really.
Yeah. Well, this will be fun.
Yeah, it's going to be.
Who loves spreadsheets? We love spreadsheets.
We love spreadsheets.
Hey, can we just read? Can I just read a comment from Rumble?
Yeah, please.
Rocky Mountain Duke says, "What is that Vladimir Lenin quote? Give me one generation of youth, and I will transform the world." Yeah. And that is what is happening in Canada right now, everyone. That is what is happening in Canada right now. We must stop them. That is the lesson in all of this. So thanks, Rocky Mountain Duke. Good to have you.
What riding is Blaine Higgs in? You know what? I will investigate that on my own. I should really know that. But let's go into, I'm just scrolling back up here. Blaine Higgs on energy affordability. He is against the carbon tax out there in New Brunswick. Although the people in the Maritimes got that exemption from their home heating oil on the carbon tax because the Liberals saw that they had an open revolt of their own MPs out there saying, you're going to make sure we lose the next election if you don't stop this nonsense. Now, our friends at the Canadian Taxpayers Federation ran the numbers and they said, actually, the Albertans and the people from Saskatchewan who use natural gas for their home heating actually pay more annually in the carbon tax on their fuel, which is actually cleaner burning. So you've provided this exemption for strictly political reasons. And as it turns out, Scott Moe's willing to go to jail for this in Saskatchewan, as we saw from the debate and from his statements. But the Liberals are saying to Blaine Higgs that he's more interested in playing politics than actually looking after the affordability of New Brunswickers and tackling climate change. What a thing to say after they cut that deal for New Brunswickers, well, not just New Brunswickers, but everybody who uses heating oil to heat their home in Atlantic Canada for purely political reasons. Because if you cared about climate change, you would tax the dirty or burning stuff. Now, I don't think anything is cleaner or less, you know, like I don't care about that kind of stuff, but the Liberals tell me they do. So, you know, why not tax the dirty stuff more?
And can I just air a little pet peeve that I have? It's when politicians accuse other politicians of doing things for political reasons when they are all politicians. Yes, that is the that is the point.
They actually do that for a living. That's their job.
If you don't make decisions because for political reasons, well, then you're sort of derelict in your position as far as I'm concerned. To say that he was doing it to score political points, and let's not forget that there was a Liberal MP suggested that if Alberta and Saskatchewan wanted more carbon tax breaks, that they should elect more Liberals.
Right.
Well, is that not playing politics? Is that not
blackmail? We elected one and he's as crooked as the day is long. No more Randy Boissonnaus. Thank you very much.
Randy. Are we talking Randy or the other Randy? Yeah, it's still up in the air.
The one is autocorrect, Randy told us all. Let's show that first video of the Liberal MP telling Blaine Higgs that he's playing politics by talking about affordability issues that the Liberals have caused. Oh, Jenica Atwin, of course it's her. The MLA for, sorry.
You've recently changed your stance on this. So
no,
is it the case that you're more interested in playing politics and actually looking after the affordability of New Brunswickers and tackling climate change?
Well, on the contrary, I think the playing politics I've witnessed here in the last half hour. The point of the issue on the carbon tax is saying, all right, can we, if we adopt the backstop, then people will get a check. Is that check offsetting the real costs they have? No, it's not.
I happen to agree with you.
Jenica Atwin, what is she, the MLA or the MP for, no, I called Lise Merle the MP for Ramallah. So she must be the MP for Gaza City. She's real hard on this Zionist state, but she's also, she's a former Green Party member. So that should explain her stance on carbons and stuff like that. So yeah, there she is.
Oh yeah, no, she should be put in an ice floe and left out into the ocean. that is what that's what Jenica Atwin should be doing in her next term. Oh, well, that's what you get. That's what you get when you elect the Greenies, the climate change alarmists, the social justice warriors. That's exactly what you get.
Yeah,
Sorry,
you know,
sorry, New Brunswick.
Tell me if this isn't pagan nonsense. Pay the tithe to the climate gods and the weather will get better. Why don't we just throw a virgin in the volcano while we're at it? You know?
No, on the ice floe, Sheila, that is our answer. We should just put Green Party and NDP MLAs and MPs on departing ice floes, like icebergs that are floating by the islands in the Atlantic, just to see if we can appease the weather gods. We should just try it. We should just try it to see if it works.
Just once.
Who knows?
Just once.
How many do you think
Nikki Ashton is the MP for a huge riding in northern Manitoba. So she seems like the right person for this job. We've got another clip here. Blaine Higgs, this makes me anxious when he says stuff like this. He said, we can make gas cheaper and cleaner by nationalizing the industry. Let's hear him say this, and then let me tell you why this gives me the cold sweats and the heebie-jeebies.
If you reference oil and gas, we know that we can buy refined product from countries that have no environmental standards at all. But you will see that our operations are likely the cleanest in the world. So where do you go? Can we get better? Absolutely. Should profits pay for that in a company? Absolutely. But we do know that any producer of a commodity, the prices end up into the consumer's hand. And unless we control those companies as a state-owned company, then that's where it comes. If you reference.
Okay, that's not quite how any of that works. And he used to be an exec for Irving Oil.
I don't know if I quite agree with him on that. Like the Trans Mountain Pipeline. I mean, we should not be owning pipelines or being in the business of nationalizing anything. As a matter of fact, that would be an encroachment on provincial jurisdiction. This is what Saskatchewan's been arguing about for years with the federal government, is that they have overreached into provincial jurisdiction as it pertains to our natural resources in Saskatchewan. So I don't align with Blaine Higgs on that at all. But can we be supplying with Atlantic Canadians with tomorrow, let's build a bridge, Sheila Gunn Reid, to Atlantic Canada. We'll just go right over Quebec and Ontario. We'll just go right over them. They say that we can't build pipelines in the earth, but they've said nothing about building bridges over them. So
looks like the Liberal Party is out to an early lead. They're leading in 26 ridings. Conservatives are 20. And the Greens, people love to waste their vote on them at 2. So that is, I guess, pretty close to what 338 was saying, but it's still early days. These could be numbers out of the urban areas.
Right. Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. They're counting Moncton. They're counting Moncton first, which is red. Well, I mean, just like in Alberta and Saskatchewan, the urban areas are much more likely to vote crazy, we'll say.
Right.
And the urban people and the rural people excuse me, are much more likely to be common sense with their vote. I mean, the Greens are not going to do very well in the urban centers, nor or in the rural centers, and nor are the Liberals. So I bet, yeah, we're getting those ridings back right now, as those urban ridings.
It makes me anxious.
Me too.
Yeah, moreover to Blaine Higgs's comments about nationalizing the energy industry, I think he just said it as a throwaway statement, but it frightens me that anybody would even think that that actually results in more affordable energy. Venezuela forcibly nationalized their energy sector, and it is chaos and social decay, and everybody thought, oh, we'll nationalize the energy industry there, and then there will just be more, all of the resource revenue will go to the people.
And then they were eating cats within 5 years. That's what happened there. Yes. Everybody went dirt poor, and it is a third world country again. Venezuela had a real chance to do some real nation building there, and they gave away all of their energy to the socialists.
And as you point out, there was no need to nationalize the Trans Mountain Pipeline whatsoever. They just needed the federal government to enforce the law. And what was an $8 billion private sector in actual investment in the Canadian economy has now ballooned to like over $15 billion. Cost overruns, timeline overruns. Anything the government touches is excessively expensive, and never quite works the same. This will be the Lada of pipelines, if I had to guess. And we don't actually have to look that far back into the last time there was an attempt to nationalize the oil and gas sector. It hit Alberta and Saskatchewan real hard with the National Energy Program. They said, we're going to make energy more affordable for us out here in the East. And it killed a generation of oil and gas investment. All of our best and brightest went to work in places like Texas. And our small oil and gas companies just collapsed in on themselves because it didn't make sense. You couldn't make a profit here because, well, the government said you couldn't.
Whenever the government gets involved in large scale infrastructure projects, you can pretty much guarantee that it's going to triple, if not quintuple, in cost. You are going to add layers of bureaucratic nightmare on top of layers of bureaucratic nightmare, and that all of the products that you produce are going to be 10 times more expensive. I mean, it is just never a good idea to involve government in these large infrastructure projects. It just isn't.
We've got one more clip on Blaine Higgs from about liberal energy policies. Let's show that, and then I have educated myself on what riding Blaine Higgs is representing, and I'm already worried, although it's early. So let's video from Blaine Higgs saying that we should take this as an opportunity to fix the flawed liberal energy policies that are crushing people and making life so expensive.
This is good news in that sense, and it's directionally right. I'm hopeful that what comes out of this is really to have an evaluation of the entire carbon tax program and say, is this achieving what it was intended to achieve? Because we're certainly feeling the impact of affordability in all aspects of what we're seeing here in our province, but across the country. This is good news.
Yeah, it's not designed to do what it was sold as what it would do. They said it would save the planet, drive down emissions, stop the forest fires, and emissions are up. Forest fires are just as cyclical as ever. The liberal policies are making them worse too. All it is a wealth transfer from some people to another, and a make work project for 1,000 bureaucrats in the bureaucracy. With the Ponzi scheme of the carbon tax. If you tried that, I say it all the time, if you tried the carbon, like what the Liberals' talking points on the carbon tax, if you tried that in the private sector, you would get arrested for running a Ponzi scheme. Give us money.
Yes.
We'll run it through the hands of 1,000 bureaucrats who definitely don't work for free. do absolutely nothing to the money, and then give you more back in return. Bernie Madoff is in jail for that, or he died, but he went to jail for that. He died.
Yeah, I was gonna.
He's dead,
I'm
but
pretty
he
sure
went to
he's
jail
not
for that.
He did go. He did go to jail for that. No, and I remember when this was being argued back in, I want to say it was like 2015, 2016, when Ralph Goodale was proclaiming from every mountaintop he could that Canadians would see more money back than they put in, and I mean that's not how math works, Ralph. Like that is absolutely not how math works. Not only did it not work, but we have not attracted the investment that they promised that we would be attracting. As a matter of fact, it's just been a free-for-all banking situation for all of their Liberal friends. It's just egregious. Hey, somebody on Rumble asked what the population split is in New Brunswick, urban versus rural, and 51% of the population lives in urban ridings, with 48% living in rural regions. In the past 5 years has been monumental for population growth in New Brunswick, because they have grown by 40,000 people, mostly in urban areas. So we might be seeing a little foreshadowing of our federal election coming, well, no later than next year. If this is an indication, 40,000 people moved into New Brunswick in the last 5 years, mostly into urban settings, with 51% in urban and 48% in rural. So that is the population divide in New Brunswick.
So I discovered what riding Blaine Higgs represents, as I should have known this before I came to AIR. I'm more concerned about his policies than his riding individually. But Blaine Higgs represents the riding of good God help me, Quispamsis. Sorry. You guys might have seen me trying.
Quispamsis.
I think it's Mi'kmaq. But I don't know, because New Brunswick is either French or Indigenous names mostly in their ridings, and then he has to have the toughest one that I have to watch. And if you might have noticed me trying to practice it with my lips without saying anything. I was like, anyway, I'm worried because the Liberal is leading. It's so early though. It's, like fewer than 1,100 votes counted, but the Liberals leading in that riding. Aaron Kennedy is
we're just going to go with their
30 votes
counting.
ahead.
We're counting. They're counting Moncton first, and that will be a Liberal stronghold. We're just going to go with that, Sheila. We're not going to panic too quickly. Oh, 40. There we go. 44.7 to 47.2. That's nicer.
Close. It's close.
Catch up.
Yeah, they are counting Moncton first. They are. I just checked. Yeah, they are. And we should look at St. John. St. John early going. Oh, St. John looks like it's a little bit split.
Tell me what you see.
Okay, so St. John West, Lancaster. So far, the Liberals leading there by. Thank you. My kid is delivering me a drink. Thank you.
Rocky Mountain. Hi, darling. Hello, darling. Rocky Mountain Duke says it's Mi'kmaq. That word that we said.
Oh, I believe it. That's what I said. I'm like, I think that's Mi'kmaq. I don't know. I tried. My lips don't work like that. We've got St. John West. They have Kate Elman Wilcott, the Liberal. She's leading by nearly 200, just over 200. St. John Center. No, sorry. Let me try that again.
St. John. So looking at the St. John West Lancaster, if you took the NDP votes, 114, and added them to the PC votes, they would be absolutely right neck and neck with the Liberal Party right there. Look at that. Or the Greens. The
Greens. We've got a St. John Harbor. The Liberal is just smashing the Conservative there by, 1,500 votes. St. John, Portland, Simmons is going Liberal also by well over 1,000 votes right now. St. John East is, oh God, the Conservative candidate is leading there just by 20 votes, and it's early on. So,
oh, and he's Minister of Local Government and Environment.
yeah.
Huh.
Rothsay, I know a little something about this because this is where Pastor Phil Hutchins lives. And he got such a rough time during COVID, arrested for having Thanksgiving services, held in solitary confinement for 7 days. You were on the Church Under Fire tour with us, so you know this story really well. The Liberals are leading there by 500 votes. But I think it'll come down to the rural ridings.
Yeah. Oh, please. Henglish 68 on Rumble says PC leading in my small community. Proud of my neighbors. Yes,
Yeah.
buddy. Yes, buddy. Yeah, we're proud of them too. Tell them we said so. Send them a link to this.
Yeah, guys in the chat, let us know what riding you're in so we can pull it up and we can have a look at it.
Yeah. Great idea,
So,
Sheila. Yeah.
we don't know what to watch. If there's something that you think that's like a riding that we should be watching, let us know. But while we wait for that, we've got a quick message from our friends at Rumble. So this is a sponsorship from our friends at Rumble, and it's one that's incredibly important to the survival of Rumble, but I think incredibly important to the survival of Rebel, because we need a place where we can report the news honestly and truthfully to you in full, not like how we have to self-censor over on the censorship platform of YouTube. When Rumble first started in 2013, they built the platform for the small creator. They didn't censor or have biases. They were fair and treated all creators equally. No one thought platforms would censor political conversation or censor opinions on COVID, but they did. Facebook admitted they fell to pressure from the Biden and Harris administration. Rumble did not. They held the line. They attacked us daily for giving us a voice to talk to you. They are attacked in corporate media. They're attacked by governments like France. They are attacked from brand advertisers who refuse to work with them. Corporate America is fighting to remove speech. Rumble's fighting to keep it. Rumble, however, won't survive with brand advertisers. They don't get much of it. Watching our show right now, what you're doing on Rumble is the most they can ever ask from you. But if you really believe in this fight, and if you have the means, one major way you can help Rumble survive is by joining Rumble Premium. Join the community that believes in the First Amendment and believes in our human right to free speech. Rumble is offering $10 off with the promo code STUDIO when you purchase an annual subscription. Go to rumble.com/premium and use the promo code STUDIO. Like I said, if you have the means and believe in the cause, now's the time to join Rumble Premium. If you don't have the means, well, heck, we're just happy if you watch us on Rumble. All right. So that's that. Has anybody told us who we should be looking for, Lise? Do you know?
Miramichi East.
Let's look.
Miramichi West.
That which riding is the RCMP Firearms office in? I forget. Where are the gun grabbers? It's in Miramichi. Oh, I know.
Yeah, it's one of them. It's one of them. Let's go look at those guys.
Miramichi East. The Conservative is leading by 700 votes there. Nice. Michelle Conroy, the Conservative. Let's go into Miramichi West. And the Conservative is leading by 1,500 votes there. So.
Oh, that's promising. You have coffee. I'm so jealous.
I know. We'll get a break and you can have one too. You need to have your kids act as little butlers like mine do.
I should scream at them through the Google speaker right now. Why else? You have a Google speaker in your house.
If we go back to Blaine Higgs riding, he is still losing by about 150 votes there.
They've only got, I don't know what.
Mine's more updated. Yeah, I'm on the elections New Brunswick NB website, and so they're updating it I think every 30 seconds. So mine might be a little bit ahead of what Olivia's using there, but It's almost unusable for broadcast purposes for poor Olivia. Anything else we should be watching? People in the chat, let us know. No? Let's go to, you talked about this issue, and that's the influx of in-migration into New Brunswick cities. And so let's go to Mark Miller, Canada's immigration minister. He looks like a vampire's familiar. Like he has been suckled on. He's pale and tall and frail and just
he looks like
he's been,
yeah, he looks like he's been dunked in Vaseline. That is what I think when I see Mark Miller. It's just pale and dunked in Vaseline.
I always look at him. He looks like he is in the throes of COVID constantly, but with no other symptoms of the illness except his pallor. Like he's just so awful.
He looks
that's a cricket
like
diet, I think.
A slope-shouldered corpse. Not to say that Halloween is coming up and Mark Miller doesn't need a costume, but that's exactly what I'm saying.
That's a man who only needs neck bolts for his costume. He says that the Conservative premiers of Alberta, New Brunswick, and Nova Scotia are weaponizing the issue of taking in asylum seekers. I think it's really irresponsible, he says. By the way, in the chat, let us know if there's other politicians you'd like us to roast. Anyways, let's show this clip.
But sadly, 3 particularly conservative ministers have stood up, the premiers of Nova Scotia, of New Brunswick, and Alberta, and decided to weaponize this working group. They took a theoretical number of asylum seekers based on the last year's number of asylum seekers, divided it up by the population as they would, and assumed that the federal government would impose a number of asylum seekers on them. Let me restate, Ontario and Quebec are doing more than their fair share, and the other provinces need to step up. But there was no point in time where anyone said that the federal government was going to impose thousands of asylum seekers on unprepared provinces. I should probably give you the documents that they themselves leaked, because it would probably be quite helpful for your analysis. But this was a productive working group that has been weaponized by 3 premiers in particular for their re-election or their leadership review, and I think it's really irresponsible. Those provinces come knocking at my door for more immigrants. They are responsible for about 20% of permanent residency numbers through the provincial nominee program. Quebec has the entire control over its permanent residency program based on the Quebec-Canada Accord. And there is a responsible way of doing things. This was not responsible, and they threw their own ministers under the bus, and they've made this productive working group much less productive. It doesn't mean we're giving up. I question the pertinence of this group, given the fact that the documents have been leaked. It's unfortunate, but I do think there was good faith around the table, and we can work on an individual basis with these provinces to see which ones will stand up. There's money on the table. There's over $1 billion that we've committed to making sure that we have a system that makes sense. There are countries in Europe that have a system that makes sense. And indeed, the European Union has a system that, while they are facing different challenges than us, at least has some semblance of sense. So this is about a bunch of premiers who decided to weaponize the issue. Unfortunately, it's undermined the credibility of this committee, and obviously considering dissolving it.
Yeah,
go ahead.
You know who didn't have housing for 40,000 additional people? New Brunswick. You know who didn't have housing for, I don't know how many you've got now. Oh, yeah, Alberta has grown by the size of Medicine Hat in the last 2 years. That is insane.
Yeah. And he said, these immigration ministers come knocking on our door asking for more immigrants. Who's asking for more immigrants? And nobody, I don't think. We have the Alberta is Calling campaign, or we used to. We would put ads in the TTC in Toronto saying, why don't you come move to Alberta? It's a lot cheaper. We're trying to rescue Torontonians. We want refugees from Ontario. That's where we want our refugees from. We don't want anybody from outside of the country. We're trying to save you from Doug Ford.
True story, Atlantic Canada. Come west. Come west. If you are tired of this garbage where you live on the coast, I mean, Western Canada is calling. We'd love to have you. You would fit right in. Y'all would fit right in.
Yeah, if you want freedom, being left alone, you're going to love it. It looks like the Greens have won a seat in Tantramar. The Green Party, Megan Mitten, that's a terrible name. Megan Mitten has bested it looks like the Liberals and the PCs. The PCs and the Liberals are really close in that riding.
Whoa.
Yeah, it sounds like they've declared this riding for the Greens. So I don't know. I guess the good people of Tantramar don't care if they trans your 6-year-old. So good luck to you, I guess.
Best of luck, Tantramar. Sorry for your loss. Sorry ahead for your loss. You're about to get an insufferable greenie on your news every night. Oh, I couldn't think of anything worse, to be completely honest.
Oh, and the Greens, sorry, also they won. The Green Party also won a seat in Fredericton, Lincoln. So sorry, that other one is the Green is just leading. But it looks like she's far enough ahead that she will likely maintain that lead. But they have declared Green Party leader David Kuhn, also a terrible name, the winner in Fredericton, Lincoln. And he beat the Conservative candidate there by 1,200 votes.
That's really interesting. That is really interesting. PCs and Liberals are neck and neck there too in second and third. But David Kuhn, wow.
Yeah, David Kuhn. You know what? You're doing better than what Sonia Furstenau in BC, who was the Green Party leader, lost her seat, but still said, we're going to start wheeling and dealing with the NDP to hang on to power. And it's like your own voters didn't even give you a mandate. Who the hell do you think you are, lady?
You know, after these last 4 years in Canada, coalitions like that should be absolutely outlawed. Outlawed. If the people did not vote for you, you cannot pair up with the next closest guy to get your dirty work done. We've all seen the negative consequences of having no say over coalitions like that. No, it's crazy. That's a crazy idea.
I get the idea of it, and it is a tradition in our Westminster parliamentary democracy. But if you try this garbage, you should be forever tainted. Like, you should have that Game of Thrones bell, the shame bell, ringing at you everywhere you go. Everywhere you go for trying to snatch the will of the people from them.
Yes.
We actually,
yes.
Going back to that clip from Mark Miller, I'm surprised he didn't just pluck a fly to the air and stick it in his mouth while he was talking, like Renfield. We should go to Blaine Higgs responding to Mark Miller because Blaine Higgs said, you're trying to force migrants into New Brunswick and you're not even giving them the support. You're inviting these people into the country with your open borders policies. Yes. We didn't. Pony up some cash at least if you're going to shoehorn them into our province against our will. So let's hear from Blaine Higgs.
Now we've learned. Provincial officials were invited to the conference call in which it was shared by the federal officials in Ottawa that Prime Minister Justin Trudeau government is considering a plan to send 4,600 asylum seekers to New Brunswick without providing any financial assistance or any opportunity for us to have the ability to build the resources and the capability to manage. Keep in mind that we currently have just under 400 asylum seekers in the province. This is an increase of more than 10 times our current level of asylum seekers. As leaders in your community who already see how our system is grappling with our existing population explosion, just think about this for a moment. Do you think Moncton could handle potentially thousands more people without the support or the housing to back that up? Now let's be clear, New Brunswick has always been a welcoming province and we will continue to be so. We have a long history of embracing diversity and helping those in need. And our immigrant population are making our province what it is today, bigger and greater than it's ever been. But this sudden and unilateral proposal by Ottawa is deeply concerning, and I feel obligated to share the challenges it will bring to our province.
There you have it.
Yeah.
There you have it.
CBC is already calling it for Susan Holt, saying that she will become the first woman premier of New Brunswick, which should make Rosie Barton very happy and parents very upset. Childless cat ladies all over the country celebrating tonight, according to the CBC. Now, they have the Liberals elected in 22 ridings, so we're not even at the 25 seats they need to get to hit majority, but it looks like it's out of reach for the Conservatives right now.
Well,
And,
like we said, to common sense New Brunswickers, Western Canada is open to you guys. Okay.
Alberta's calling. Everybody in that center part of New Brunswick, the rural parts, if you look, it's the same thing as everything else in this country. There, like when you look at the map of BC right now, it's blue and a little strip of orange. It's this is very reminiscent of the map of Canada, right? Red on the top, everything else is blue, and the people in the middle are controlled by the people on the edge.
This is why the country of Eritrea became a country, because the Ethiopian rural people and the Ethiopian coastal people became so divergent in what they wanted for their country that they created a new one off the coast. They just cleaved off the coast, and the rest of Ethiopia was left alone, and they said, you can keep your crazy ideas, coastal elites, and away you go. But that's exactly what this looks like, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yes, exactly. CBC has the Liberals leading in 26 of 49 seats in New Brunswick. They've taken all their subsidies that they get from the taxpayer, that the ones left after Catherine Tate paid herself, and they've taken the spreadsheet that New Brunswick calls their elections website and aggregated it into something different. So I guess they're doing something with the money over there. But it looks like Blaine Higgs is even in for a tough time. He's losing his seat by 150 votes. 150 votes.
Oof.
Yeah. Liberals leading or elected now in 31 ridings. Well, what, do they know something I don't? No, I don't know. I don't know.
They have they have some modeling that's questionable. But we all know how modeling and media influence works in these things. Let us not forget, the scandal of the George W. Bush and Al Gore, and media declaring a winner and other media declaring another winner, and how that works. I mean, it often leads to some confused number ringing.
Yeah. So now we're all going to pretend like Susan Holt is the only female premier in this entire country. Like that's what they're going to do, right? Because the Conservative one doesn't count. The Conservative one that's always winning and fighting with Justin Trudeau and getting prettier the more she fights with Justin Trudeau. We get to pretend like she doesn't exist now because Susan Holt is a Liberal, and so this is a win for feminism. And that Danielle Smith, she's just an awful, awful woman in Alberta, and she doesn't even count.
They would say that, wouldn't they?
They
would say, maybe that's the secret to Conservative women. Maybe that's the secret. Like, we get prettier the more we fight with the left. I like that.
All I know is Dion Buse punched 5 years off my face. For those of you who don't know, Dion Buse is the little puke of a man who punched me at the Women's March in it would have been 2017, after Donald Trump got elected, and a bunch of the self-sterilized moms helped him escape, and they blamed me for my politics. They literally said I was asking for it, and I'm like, what on earth is happening? But yeah, I believe that I did get younger the day he punched me, because the more you fight with Liberal men, the younger you get, ladies.
That's right. That's right. We don't have to do injectables or fillers or any of those crazy things. No. All we have to do is stand up to the left, and we just get younger and more attractive.
All right. Let's sometime. Yeah, you know what? We've got time to kill while we wait on this thing to get finalized. Let's show Dion Buse and the 800 awful feminists. Ask me why I'm not a feminist? Look at this video. He punches my camera into my face. I'm not a big woman. I have probably 4 inches on him. And I'm a strong farm woman. I could have tied this guy in a pretzel. But I didn't, because then it would have been Rebel News reporter assaults male feminist ally at the Women's March. So anyways, he punched my camera into my face. And then scurried away like a rat. Anyways, I feel like I got younger that day. Let's watch.
As you event, fuck you.
Okay, so wouldn't you say that it would be feminine? No, I'm just asking you a question. Do I seem unreasonable to you? Because they seem really pleasant. Am I coming across as pleasant right now?
Yeah, absolutely. We're just trying to have a conversation here.
I'm trying to have a conversation with you.
Away. Get out of my fucking face. I will break your camera. You don't have the right to.
Whoa!
Guys, stop. Let's calm down. Calm down. You don't have the right to film me before you go.
Yes, he does. Just
Yeah, I do. You just hit me in the face. No, don't tell me to calm down. I'm not telling you.
Yeah, you guys should move away.
You deserve to be angry. You deserve to be angry.
Yeah.
No,
Wizardry.
don't get it between me. Get it between me. That's not you, feminist. That guy just hit me in the face. Does it matter? Do I deserve it?
I'll never forget that old witch in the pink hat telling me that I'm the problem. You're the problem. Like, she left where she was standing. That old bra burner comes over from where she's standing to come up and tell me that I'm the problem. Look at her. She just couldn't keep her stupid face out of the mix. Oh, God.
It still pains me to see that. Like, it pains me to see that. It really did show the depravity of the far
Look at her.
left.
She came over to yell at me.
Yeah. Remember, this was in the era of Me Too. You know, when we were supposed to believe all women.
They came over to console him in case he
little
hurt his
darling
hand
was
punching my
pathetic.
camera into my face.
But then what happened? Sheila? Tell them what the follow up was to that.
Oh, he cut a plea deal behind my back with the Crown. So that wasn't good enough. We decided we were going to sue him. And a judge that actually saw this video, because he cut a plea deal with a judge who had never seen this video. And he told the judge that I had instigated it. Literally the last thing I said before he punched me in the face was, I'm just trying to have a conversation here. He took off his glove to prep to punch me in the face. Did you see that? He takes it off like he's planning it. We showed this to a civil court judge who sided with us, and he had to pay a small settlement, and some of the money went to a women's shelter. So, and like a pro-life women's shelter. And it cost us way more to sue him than what we got in the small settlement. But there was a point to be made that you don't put your hands on a Rebel News journalist, ever. And because we will ruin you for a while. And if you go to dionbuse.com, in perpetuity, you will see that video sitting there. Because anytime that somebody mentions his name and Googles it, goes looking for his phone number, they're going to find that. And now he's living under another name.
Yeah, he had to change his name. That's the lesson, is he had to change his name. Yeah.
Yeah, now he goes by Dion James. And CBC rehabs his, by the way, his own family turned him in, his cousins.
Nice.
But like within minutes. But now he has a guitar making business, a handmade guitar making business. And CBC recently did 2 separate puff pieces on him. One now that he's involved in some urban farming nonsense. But this one, Edmonton handcrafted guitar business sees boom despite pandemic. It was basically how everybody's taking up music during the pandemic. And the good news is, you know how dumb this is? The orders that he got during the pandemic were not done until the pandemic was over. New orders should be finished in 2023, says owner. But anyways, he says, if my house burned down, I'd grab my child, my partner, then my guitar. I pulled CBC's communications on this.
Yes.
Because
you did?
I did. He changed his name anyways to Dion James because he can't operate as Dion Buse anymore. And there he is working alone in his shop, wearing a mask in case you didn't know that he already voted for the NDP. He
Oh, look at him. What a piece of garbage.
hiding his face, right?
Yeah.
I pulled the CBC.
He doesn't want to show his
communication.
stupid little lip ring. You know, he wanted to hide his stupid little lip ring.
I should have ripped it right out of his face, but I didn't. Anyways, I pulled the communications between CBC and him once somebody sent me this article saying, this is the guy who punched you in the face, getting a tongue bath advertorial from the CBC, sending people to his business. So I waited a little bit. Internet outrage happened, and I pulled the communications between the two, basically oh my God, what are we going to do? She saw that we said these nice things about you, and they're like, oh, who cares? It's just Rebel News. They didn't care. The feminists down at the CBC. Yeah.
The day the CBC gets defunded, okay, what are we going to do? I actually fantasize about that. It's part of my fantasy structure in my little brain. What are we going to do, Sheila, the day the CBC gets defunded?
Do you know what? I'm going to buy red hair dye and pour it out on the curb for Catherine Tate.
Clairol number 4, 4 fluorescent, right? Yes, because for as much money as that woman earns, I mean, she could afford to go and get her hair done. And it's, does she ever? Her scalp is fluorescent. It's literally glowing dark.
Screaming for help.
Yeah.
We need to hit an ad break, and we will circle back here in 90 seconds. Olivia, does that work? All right.
Hi, everybody. As you know, every year we do a fundraiser for Rebel News that's super fun. It's a Rebel News cruise. We all go on a cruise ship together. We have dinner with each other. We have seminars when the ship's at sea, like Q&A sessions. And the rest of the time is your own. It's a vacation. It's a way to connect with other Rebel News enthusiasts. It's a way to check in with me and Sheila Gunn Reid and Drea Humphrey and David Menzies. Tons of Rebels are on the trip, and at the end of the day, it's a way to keep Rebel News strong because there's a little extra added to the cost, which is how we float the boat here at Rebel News. It's a fundraiser. Here's the next Rebel News cruise in case you've always wanted to go on one. It sets sail out of Vancouver June 18th, 2025. It's a week-long, June 18th to 2025, and it's Vancouver to Alaska. So it's a lot easier to get to than a Caribbean cruise where you have to fly to Florida to set sail. Starts in Vancouver, where I'll greet you, Sheila, David, Alexa Lavoie, Drea Humphrey. It's a super fun trip. I've done it before. We go to Skagway, which is where the gold rush started. We go to Glacier National Park, which is as beautiful as it sounds. Go to rebelnewscruise.com to learn more, to check the pricing, and to book your cabin. Just let me rattle off some of the details of the places we're going. It's called the Alaska Inside Passage Cruise. If you know what that means, you go up right along the coast. It's on Holland America, so it's nice. It's the MS Zandam. That's the name of the ship. Obviously, we start off in Vancouver, next the Tracy Arm Inlet, then Juneau, the capital of Alaska, Skagway, by far my favorite city. It's amazing. Then Glacier Bay. Maybe the most beautiful place I've ever been in my life. Back to Ketchikan and then down to Vancouver. If you like cruising, this is a super way to do it with fellow travelers, ideologically speaking. If you've never cruised before, this is a great way to start. And if you've been on Rebel News cruises, well, you don't want to miss this one. Again, for details, go to rebelnewscruise.com. It's next June, so just under a year away, but not too soon to order and to get the early bird discount. I'll see you at sea.
Here is my kind of passport, folks. Look at this beauty. Introducing a new special edition Freedom Passport. What if the greatest teacher of all time framed his message as a constitution for a kingdom of love, faith, and freedom. Inspired by Jesus' teachings in the Sermon on the Mount, this special edition Freedom Passport captures the foundational truths of love and freedom for all. It's a powerful reminder of Jesus' call to love one another that you can carry with you every day. Join the movement, share the truth, and spread the love with your family and friends. Get your Freedom Passport today at freedompassport.ca. That's freedompassport.ca. All orders in North America come with free shipping and a complimentary song with each purchase.
Why should you join Canada's National Firearms Association? We currently have one of the most aggressively anti-firearm governments in our nation's history, promoting fear and placing blame like never before. Our rights, freedoms, culture, and heritage, it's all on the line. But we are fighting back, and there is strength in numbers. We work within the law to change the law, to defend competitors, hunters, collectors, and other law-abiding firearms owners. We can get through this. We've done it before, and we'll do it again, if you are with us. Canada's National Firearms Association. Freedom, safety, responsibility.
All right. My friend Chris Sims reminds me of something that happened in New Brunswick in Tantramar, in the Tantramar riding back in 2013. And it makes perfect sense given that they are going to re-elect their Green Party MLA. I put it in the chat, Olivia. It was in Rexton, New Brunswick. It was at an anti-fracking protest back in 2013. Our sweet little Chris Sims from the Canadian Taxpayers Federation was a journalist with Sun News at the time. She was covering the anti-fracking protests. And they carjacked the media. Chris Sims was pushed and threatened. They offered to burn their vehicles and assault all of us, and they were convicted. So that's an eco-radical riding, so it is absolutely no surprise that they have elected Megan Mitten, which is an absolute terrible name, unless that's a cat's name. That is a cat's name. Megan Mitten is a cat's name. That's the full name you give the vet. Yes, so Josh Skurnick was also assaulted there outside of a community hall in Elsie Pogtog. I remember these like it was yesterday. While some of the local chiefs were being interviewed by other media, you know, the friendly media, a man shoved Josh Skurnick along with others and told him to leave. And Josh Skurnick was not a small guy, actually. Skurnick was a wrestler and he had a cauliflower ear, so like he was. So
you know a guy has seen some time when they have the cauliflower ear at the beginning of the fight. Yes.
Right. And so let's scroll down. Thanks, Chris, for sending me this in a text.
Hey, Chris, thanks for being here. We just love you. Yeah, Chris Sims is a good
Chris Sims and 4 other members of the media were swarmed by Native protesters Saturday while filming. Oh, I remember this. They burned cop cars. Like, this was just mayhem back then. They raised cop cars. They were set ablaze by anti-fracking protesters a few days before in Rexton. So this riding has been out of control with green nonsense for, well, I guess, the better part of the last decade and a half.
Yeah. Well, enjoy it. Enjoy it.
Enjoy your trans 6-year-olds and your burned out cop cars.
Yeah, your violent street gangs.
Yeah,
protesting about fracking.
We've got Liberal Party now elected in 24, so we're almost to the 25, leading in 7 more. So they're presumed to win 31, but we're not official yet. Although CBC has called it for Suze Zinholt. Progressive Conservatives have elected 11. They're leading in 5, so a total of 16. And the Greens have their 2. One is their leader, and one is Megan Mitton, who I believe is not a tabby cat. So, yes.
She's one of those Scottish fold with the fancy ears. She's a designer cat.
Right, right. Low carbon designer cat. We oh, that's nice. Somebody in the chat says that I'm awesome. Well, thank you. We've got the Green Party speech. We could show that. I forget his name now. Let's go back in my notes. David Kuhn. Right, I did completely get about his name. David Kuhn he gave a speech. Maybe we can show some of that, but we'll cut away from his speech when Blaine Higgs comes out to presumably concede. So we'll react to that too. And remember, guys, if there's something you want us to check in on, a riding you want us to look at, put it in the chat, and hopefully someone will send it to us and we'll take a look. So let's go to the Green, David Kuhn, who was reelected, unlike Sonia Furstenau, and then we'll cut away to go to Blaine Higgs.
What a surprise tonight. Merci à tous d'être là. Thanks everyone for being here. Well, the results are unexpected. I want to start out by thanking the voters of the new riding of Fredericton Lincoln for putting their trust in me to carry their voice into the Legislative Assembly of New Brunswick. And I want to thank my entire local campaign team for the incredible work they did, because of course as leader I was around the province a lot and there was a lot of work to do when I wasn't here, and they did a fantastic job. So thank you, team. By now we all know that Kevin is not going to be going back to the Legislative Assembly, and that's c'est horrible pour Nouveau-Brunswick que Kevin Arsenault maintenant ne sera pas une députée pour la circonscription de Nord dans l'Assemblée législative.
Member of the Legislative Assembly. But that's the reality.
We can all give Kevin Arsenault a tremendous hand of thanks for the incredible work he has done. Il est un vrai leader du Nouveau-Brunswick, and I know we'll find a role for him, and he'll find a role after the election, I'm sure. I know all the candidates, and I know many of you are here and many of you are watching, have done a tremendous job. Worked so hard with your incredible teams to try and win a seat in this election. And I don't know what to say. It's tough. It's hard. It's heartbreaking. I know when you pour yourself, your blood, sweat, and tears into winning that seat. But it wasn't to be this election. We're building, though. We're continuing to build. And one thing's for sure, we know that Blaine Higgs is no longer the premier of this province. I called Susan Holt just before I came over here to congratulate her on winning a majority government. Oh, yeah. And there's a lot of expectations across this province in terms of what government's going to deliver for them, given all of the problems and challenges we face here in our beautiful province. And as one of the opposition parties, the best opposition party, we have an awesome responsibility to push them, to be bold, to push them, to make the investments necessary to actually fix the healthcare system, to push them to serve New Brunswickers in the way they need to be served. Aux gens du Nouveau-Brunswick, je vous écoutez, je vous écoute.
New Brunswick, I listen to you. I am listening to you because every one of you counts. I want to thank you for supporting the Green candidates in your ridings, and I want to thank you for being part of the Democratic project. Thank you for also running as Green candidates.
Those who are watching have spoken with tens of thousands of New Brunswickers at their door. We listened so that we could serve you, New Brunswickers, better in the Legislative Assembly, and that's exactly what we will do. You have my commitment that we will act on what we heard in the Legislative Assembly. We're at a fork in the road in our history in New Brunswick. We chose action over talk. We choose the hope that springs from action rather than the despair that spreads from inaction. But to get to the future we want, we must act together, and we can do so with respect and with mutual understanding.
Well, things are about
Classy.
to get a lot worse for the people of New Brunswick. I will tell you that for free.
You know what? Real classy Green candidates, Green supporters with the na, hey, goodbye. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm the furthest thing from classy. I'll tell you that right now. But I know that that's kind of yucky behavior. You're supposed to be like gracious to the outgoing premier and thank him for his service. You're not supposed to sort of slam his fingers in the door on his way out, which they just did. I just thought that was kind of gross.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but
anyways, here's Blaine Higgs.
Not the night we hope for. Nevertheless, it is what it is. So the people of New Brunswick have spoken, and I have called and congratulated Susan Holt and her team on their victory. Susan, you've earned the trust of the people, and I wish her here every success as she takes on the challenges that lie ahead. I'm proud of the campaign we ran, one that was focused on making New Brunswick a better place for all of us. We set out to continue the work we started over the past few years, improving healthcare, building our economy, and ensuring a brighter future for the next generation. We have record numbers of people coming to our province now. We have a foundation to build on economically, a province that was severely in debt and spiraling in the wrong direction. We've certainly seen investment that has grown in our province to private sectors coming here and setting up. Record number of kids in schools. We were closing schools in 18, opening schools, now building many more. So the province is on a trajectory that will move it forward. And I'm really hoping that Susan Holt and her Liberal colleagues will continue that path because New Brunswick deserves a bright future. So as we talk about, the outcome that it wasn't what we hoped for, I am deeply grateful to the tireless efforts of many, many people on the team, many volunteers that have worked throughout the entire campaign cycle, throughout this entire election, with the hope that we would continue the progress that we've made to date. To our candidates, our volunteers, and every supporter who believed in our message that it was important to keep building New Brunswick. Our candidates around the province, I know it's a tough loss. The quality of candidates that we had running this time were second to none. I've seen such amazing people step forward. To our candidates that have won, I congratulate you, and I encourage you to keep the torch burning and to rebuild our party and to keep New Brunswick strong by being an opposition that is stronger than ever by holding the whole government to account. So tonight's result, obviously, will start the process of leadership transition within PCNB. I will have discussion in the days ahead with my caucus, the party leadership, and my family about the next steps and how to proceed. After those discussions are complete, I will make a formal announcement. Some of the issues are already predetermined, so it won't be a newsflash. But I guess I want to say that through all of this, you know, I have to resort back to a couple that have been with me from the very beginning. That's Paul and Therese Destu. And, you know, amazing support, have guided us throughout this 14 years now. And I guess, you know, all things come to an end at some point, but our friendship won't end. And I hope my friendship won't end with all of you and all the people in Quispamsis, that certainly where we still reside. I also want to thank my loving wife. It's been a very stressful month for her. and she's, I have joked around through this that, you know, she said, well, I don't know quite what I'd do with you in retirement. So now she'll be thinking that, probably staying awake tonight. Now, what am I really going to do with this guy? So many things left undone, you know, on our path to fix the province. So there's lots of work to do for any new government. And I'm only hoping that will continue. I also want to thank my daughters who are here tonight, Laura and Rachel. My two other daughters aren't here with me tonight. They're both traveling abroad, but it's wonderful to have family support, which I've had through the entire time in office and actually through my entire life. 4 most wonderful daughters and a wife that 46 years and counting. So it's pretty impressive. So as we look forward, again, I just say thank you to each and every one of you. May God ask his blessing certainly on this province. We have a wonderful province. We have a lot to be thankful for. We have, you know, we've seen people find our province for the first time internationally, nationally, and it's growing in leaps and bounds. And, you know, I'm honored to have been in office while that has been going on, and I wouldn't have been able to do it without the tremendous support from so many volunteers, so many people dedicated to the cause. And we stand for what we believe in. Maybe we fall for what we believe in, but we don't lose our conviction in the process. Thank you very much.
That's a good man right there.
What a beaut. Yeah.
You know what?
Oh, well.
He didn't waver on parents' rights. He said, you know, we stand for what we believe in. Maybe we fall for what we believe in, but we don't lose our conviction in the process. That's what he said. And that's a man who's proud to have served. Compare that speech to the Green Party speech. And that's what I'm talking about, the class, the absence of class from the Green Party leader, who just was like, thought that he would just kick Blaine Higgs on his way out the door. And Blaine Higgs lost his seat tonight by just under 200 votes. 100, if my math holds, 193 votes.
If that doesn't, if that's
Yeah.
not a lesson for Canadians right there, that every single vote matters. Look at that 44.1 to 46.5. My God.
Susan Holt, she beat her Conservative challenger by over double. If we can pull up the results from her riding. Susan Holt in Fredericton South Silverwood, 3,192. Conservative candidate Nicole Carlin, 1,371. So that's that. And right now they've got, so it is completely confirmed beyond speculation. So, it's 25 seats for a majority. And if I refresh this page here, 29 seats for the Liberals, projected to take 31. So, and it's 25 seats for a majority. So progressive Conservatives are anticipated to take 16 seats. So it's still a strong opposition. But of course, the Libs will be affirmed in all of their bad ideas by those two horrible Liberal Party or Green Party candidates. So bad news for New Brunswick. But as you said off the top of the show, it's almost impossible to win a third term as government there. Last time it happened was 1995.
That's
so
30 years ago. That's 30 years ago. So
yeah,
29, 30 years ago. So I mean, that is just the way that New Brunswickers roll.
Yeah.
I mean, which is really quite sad. You know that you know we in Alberta and Saskatchewan have a much greater tolerance, I think, for our elected officials in that capacity, and we've seen the way that sticking to our guns and letting the work get done works.
Right. Well, you know, we in Alberta we frequently throw them out when they're not conservative enough.
Well,
That's
the
why
leaders, leaders you do. Not the party though, not the entire party. The
44
leaders
years, 44 years of continuous PC government in Alberta. Then we went mad and elected the NDP, and it really wasn't. It was because of a vote split on the right, and then hope from my lips to God's ears, another 44 years. We'll be just fine.
May it never happen again. May it never happen again. But in Saskatchewan's election coming up on, where are we today? What's today? Monday? On Thursday, the Saskatchewan election is on Thursday.
This Thursday?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're back at this on Thursday?
Are we, yeah.
Yeah, I guess so.
Thursday. Yeah. No, wait, hold on. It is on the 28th.
Oh,
next week. Next week.
Okay.
So
because I can use a break from this just for like
sorry,
a couple of days.
We have an election overload in Canada right now. And so Saskatchewan is like flirting with the idea of an NDP government, I guess. I keep telling people we will be broke and all moving to Alberta, maybe again.
Yeah.
Because that's what happens when we elect NDP governments. No, it's so super silly dangerous. But Sask Party, like I've been saying for the last several months, is in the midst of an identity crisis, and they haven't quite found their footing, or they're working on finding their footing. But there's a whole bunch of little upstart conservative movements happening, and Saskatchewan is possibly the most fascinating place to observe politics right now. It's wild. But again, mirroring New Brunswick, it is the urban centers that are going orange and the rural centers that are going bluer. So we'll see how the Sask Party shakes out. They're green. Their color is green. I mean, not green as in the left lunatics.
Look at this. Yep. It's everybody in their little bubbles. Which is fine, except the red people are governing the blue people right now. But yeah, you guys don't you dare elect Carla Beck there. She'll be standing out in the field by Kindersley and Rosetown, just scaring away anybody who's trying to invest oil and gas money. Get out of here, go shoo. Go to South Dakota, get out of here, go to North Dakota, get going. Exactly right. She would shut down our oil and gas sector. She would shut down our coal mines in southeast Saskatchewan. It would be economically disastrous for us to elect an NDP government here, and yet we are flirting with it. So Sask Party needs a big fat reinvention real fast to be able to keep that from happening. We are just waiting on Holt to come in and give her acceptance speech. And I don't know, propose her first policy of free cross-sex hormones for all the 9-year-olds. No, sorry, her number was 12. So for all the 12-year-olds in the province. She's swilling champagne in a gender-neutral bathroom right now with the drag queen. You know what? You know who's really rubbing his hands together thinking that this is like an indicator of something to come is Justin Trudeau. He thinks this is a sign that people actually like him because they voted for Susan Holt, when it's more of they are just voting for something different than the PCs who've been in power for 2 terms. Yeah, that is exactly what's happening. Oh, I can't find a single thing there to like in those photos. Not a single thing. Oh, well. Do we have any clips that we can, you know what, let's go to this interview with, actually, no, let's do this. It just was something that I just came out today from me. It's about New Brunswick. Do you remember the sex ed presentation from the HPV
Do I?
Global Action, Quebec sex ed people, they had a presentation in New Brunswick schools. And it was enough for Blaine Higgs to say, we're not letting any of these people in our school classrooms ever again. And all we ever saw was just 1 or 2 slides.
Yep.
And I asked for the slides, and I filed for access to information. The health network in New Brunswick said I could have them. They said, yes, of course you can have them. Because this stuff was fit for 14-year-olds. The world should know. Well, now HPV Global Action has filed a complaint with the New Brunswick Ombud to block my access to information because they're worried that it will reignite controversy, and they're also worried that their email addresses will become public. And Horizon Health, they made this complaint to Horizon Health initially, and Horizon Health said, look, you took the public money, which qualifies you as a public employee, even if you are a contractor. And so now your information is public. People get to know who you are because that's what you do. Public money means that you're accountable to the taxpayer. So anyways, they also said that they're getting all these threats and stuff. And Horizon Health Network said, you didn't produce any evidence of threats. So, and then they said, we're contemplating thinking about maybe doing some filing a complaint. And it's like, well, go and do that then. Go and do that.
You know what?
Go.
You know what they got is negative public feedback is what they got. That is not the same as a threat. That is not the same as a threat. And I just want to tell our viewers right now how long and hard Sheila's been working on this story, because this story originally broke in like July, wasn't it, Sheila? We were in
2023.
Has it been that long?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh wait, yeah, was it? Oh yeah, it was.
It's been forever. It's been forever.
It's been forever.
Yeah, and they keep now. I might end up in King's Bench in Ontario if if the Ombud rules on my side. There's like one more step they could take to block me, and it could end up in judicial review. And I'm just like, just show me your stupid slide. All of this is an admission. Like, send me the PowerPoint. This is an admission that you know that this is not fit for public consumption. And if it's not fit look at this. If this is the one slide that was shown to grade 9s, and I'm like, show me the whole thing. I want to see the whole thing. You showed this to grade 9s. I want to see the whole thing. They won't give it to me, which is an admission that this is the best that it got, not the worst.
Yeah, no, without question, that's what happened. Is they are definitely trying to hide their dirty deeds. But what was so interesting is, like, I remember at the time going through their website with a quick fine-tooth comb. Remember that, Sheila? We were in Edmonton.
Oh yeah,
in the parking lot at
Church
in the Vine. We were in the I remember rolling up in my van, just being like on fire about this story. It was just breaking. And you said right in that moment, oh my God, we're gonna quickly file for access to all of these files. And when we were going through the website, because this is an HPV, human papilloma virus vaccine promotion group, I guess. They are funded all by Big Pharma. Like, all Big Pharma was all over that website. They had high level people consulting for their little agency, and to say to you, oh well, no, we don't want to give you the access because we're afraid of the public feedback. Well, tough shit, to be completely honest. If it's good enough for your 14-year-olds, you should have no problem showing it to the parents, none at all. And I mean, this is just the way that these institutions, these third-party sex ed providers, are getting into schools to float all of their deviant garbage. This is just another example. And they came in under the guise of, we're trying to prevent cervical cancer. We're trying to prevent cervical cancer. Get your HPV shot, young girls, in grade 9. That's what they were there for. And then they show this garbage when nobody's looking. It's ridiculous. And that's what all of them do across the country of Canada. Third-party sex ed providers should be banned in the entire country of Canada. Oh yeah. Here we go.
Yeah, here we go.
Yeah, here
I
we go.
should, maybe we can read from their email that they sent. I think it's on page 7 of the PDF documents attached to the copy of this story on our website. And this is their complaint to the Ombud after they complained to the Information Commissioner, and the Information Commissioner said, no, this is public information, and so the public can release it. And so this is the letter that the Ombud sent to me. And I guess HPV Global Action didn't know that the Ombud would rightfully notify me of their complaint and send me all their communications. So that's how I got their communications. I got their communications between the HPV Global Action and Horizon Health Network, which was sort of like the facilitator of this into the school. Because it was sort of through the school, the local health region.
Yeah.
And so they sent those to me. They're like, here's the complaint if you want to read it, because it's going to the Ombud. So I got all their back and forth emails about what they thought I was going to do with this information. So I still got your email addresses that you didn't want me to get. I got them.
Good try to cover up though, kids.
Yeah.
Good try.
I got them.
E for
I got
effort.
them, and I got them, and they're in the documents in case you guys want them. Don't do anything mean with them. Don't send any threats. But just so you know, the reason I didn't redact them is because they want them redacted. So it's Olivia, I think it's page 7 of 13 in the documents. But it says, we have deep concerns regarding this request, considering the questionable release of the information released to the public thus far, and considering the toll the grave harassment linked to this situation has had on our organization and colleagues with whom we work. The harassment and intimidation that our organization and some of our New Brunswick colleagues have faced thus far is alarming. The release of this information poses a significant risk not only to the sustainability of our organization, but also to the safety of our employees and our colleagues. There's a very real possibility that this information could be used irresponsibly, with or without intent, as it was demonstrated over the past months, further endangering those involved. Look, if you're getting death threats, file a police complaint. Death threats are illegal. Go do something about it. But they haven't. That's the point of this. Despite our extensive and thorough cooperation with the New Brunswick government, we regrettably noticed the same courtesy was not reciprocated. Indeed, throughout this entire episode, we observed that misinformation was released publicly, and even in a questionable, irresponsible manner, for which we had to be proactive in defending the facts and hoping that providing clear context would be taken into account. If I'm going to not provide context, give me the full context. Give me the PowerPoint presentation, because if I don't have it, people are just going to fill in the blanks with assuming that you have published gross materials and showed them to kids. Disclosing the information in this request could reopen the issue and be misconstrued, forcing us once again to halt our activities. Okay, don't threaten me with a good time. Hurt our organization's business, and to once more be placed in the position of unjustly having to defend ourselves. There is a very real risk that this will have further significant negative impact on our charity's sustainability and reputation. Again,
you know what should happen to your charity? It should lose its charitable status, and all of you should have to go look for new jobs. That is what should happen.
Don't
in a
threaten me with
just
a good
world.
time. Let's keep going.
In a just
Well,
world, that's exactly what would happen.
I'm just waiting for a cutaway. Olivia, just ping me in my ear. Moreover, this is the best part, because Horizon Health responded to this. Moreover, given the threats and the life threats and violent comments that members and collaborators of our organization have received on social media, extending into personal lives and referencing sensitive aspects such as religion in the form of alarming anti-Semitic images and sexual orientation, we strongly suggest you refrain from releasing any further information on this topic. The safety of everyone involved, well, I guess except the kids, is our highest priority. Some incidents of harassment have been so troubling and violent. Now, violent is an actual, that's a it's an act, it's not a feeling, right?
Mhm.
Have been so violent that several colleagues are this is my favorite, actively contemplating the possibility of pursuing legal action. So you're thinking about doing something. Okay, do something. We firmly object to the disclosure of any information related to this request, the specific subsections or blah, blah, blah. So they want all their stuff
You know what that tells me,
redacted.
Sheila? It tells me that they have so much to hide.
Oh, I know.
That's what that tells me.
So Horizon Health responded to this and they said, Horizon contends that HPV Global Action was contracted by the Department of Education to speak with students and therefore is considered an employee of the Department of Education. To further explain this point, please consider the definitions of an employee, which is in relation to a public body, an individual retained under contract to perform services for the public body. And the Ombudsman of New Brunswick has previously ruled that work email and phone numbers of employees are not considered private information when an employee is communicating about work matters, and further that employee contact information can be released under access to information requests. It actually even got better, because they go on to say, you express that harm has come upon HPV Global Action employees and the reputation of HPV Global Action has been adversely affected by past media attention. You express concerns about records being released, blah, blah, blah. They go on to say that there have been no instances or reports. They didn't provide any information. They said, I can only make a decision based on the evidence before me, and I do not find it has been demonstrated that disclosure of the names of the applicants, or to the applicant in this case, could reasonably expected to give rise to the harms contemplated by your complaint. It says, in arriving to upon this decision, I note that my decision on this point is specific to the facts and evidence presented in this particular case. If more detailed or specific facts or evidence were available to better support a concern of harm that could arise from the disclosure of a particular individual, my findings may have been different. So basically they said, you said that you were getting threats, you didn't even send a screenshot. So anyways, now I have to wait till February to get this presentation that they gave to kids in 2023, and it could end up in King's Bench. This is what I do for a living.
This is what I'm finding too with my Freedom of Information Act request against the Richmond Public School Division, is the way that they will stonewall and then here we go.
Here comes Hope. But yeah, you can finish your conversation until she gets to the mic. Yeah, they just stonewall you. They put up a paywall. They either waste your time or waste your money. And they make it seem like collecting public records means like going and looking through a microfiche for hours on end in some darkened corner of the library. And it's like, no, you just keyword search a PDF document and emails, put them in a file and send them off. It's not like the olden days.
Yeah, right now I'm in talks with Saskatchewan's Information and Privacy Commissioner about getting access to social media and private emails, because we know very well that these institutions don't want us to find out what they've been doing. And so they take other methods of communication, mainly social media and private communication apps, and do their dirty work there. So I can't.
They love a good signal conversation.
Yeah, they do, and we're going after them, Sheila. We're going after them, because that's one thing about us conservative girls is we don't give up easy. So
well, and they're not very bright. Like once you get these documents back, you're going to see evidence of them doing that. Like I used to see this all the time when the NDP were in power here in Alberta, and I was just filing like 30 access to information requests a week, some weeks, and they would say, let's take this conversation offline, or they would send an email and say, do you have time to talk in person? And then they would be like, see you in a minute. And then they would go do their little nonsense. They're plotting, they're scheming to obscure access to information.
I'm going to go after the footage from inside the school board, because I know they have security cameras. So I can't wait to look for that footage. I'm gonna.
This lady goes to the Christia Freeland School of Dress, where you have to you always wear a red dress at a Liberal event.
A red dress and a poor fitting blazer. Yeah. A nice little collarless blazer. Oh hi! Oh my God!
Mandarin
I'm so proud
collar
of you.
Yeah.
We're gonna trans the kids.
Look at all those kids. Those babies.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Yep. Okay, come on, get up on the stage, please.
What are they whispering? Oh, group hug, group hug. We're gonna destroy the province. I can't wait to destroy the province. I'm gonna ask for
curious.
more immigrants.
Yeah. And no more immigrants and no money to support them.
Hey, that guy looks like Mark Miller's twin right there. That guy. That bald guy.
The bald guy?
Wait for him to turn around. Yeah, just that, like same Vaseline. Same Vaseline.
He has
look.
ears like a bat.
Oh,
Okay, come
hi.
on, Suze, get up there. Honest to goodness.
Oh man, did they ever invest in matching t-shirts from
This is
Michael?
actually quite a lackluster background. If you thought you were going to win the election, you would think that you would have put a little bit more time into the background of the camera money shot, right?
You know, let's just go with the overhead fluorescent lights, is what they said.
Yeah, just stick that thing up there off kilter and that thing over there off kilter, and we'll just call it a day. It's no washi tape background like yours.
Well, Alan, merci beaucoup. Thank you, New Brunswick. I want to thank every voter, every person who came out and exercised their right to vote and participate to keep our democracy strong. Thank you to everyone who voted, and a special thank you to everyone who voted for Team Holt and our amazing candidates that we elected tonight. Je veux aussi remercier chaque candidat.
I also want to thank every candidate who stood up and decided to run for the party. That's something incredible to do.
That put their name on a ballot and offered to serve New Brunswick. Thank you. I have to thank the people with whom this could never be possible, and that is the volunteers. Politics is a work of volunteers. It is people who show up and knock on doors and make calls, and there were thousands and thousands of them, and we could not have done this without you. So many of you are here. Merci aux bénévoles. Merci beaucoup.
Thank you to the volunteers. Thank you so much.
I would also like to thank Mr. Blaine Higgs for his service to New Brunswick over these past 6 years.
Nice. Greens could learn something.
And offer my congratulations to David Kuhn on his re-election. I look forward to working with him in the legislature. There's 2 special thank yous that I'd like to make, if I may. To the people of Fredericton South Silverwood, the community where I grew up, where I learned to ski, to play piano, to do a whole bunch of things. Thank you very much for choosing me to be your MLA. Et puis je veux aussi remercier le monde du ancien circonscription de
I
Bathurst.
want to also thank you, people from the riding of Bathurst, who gave me the opportunity to enter the legislature. My family and I, we love all those people. You are an incredible community, and thank you for giving me this opportunity.
I also want to take a moment to recognize a couple particular people who came before me. Brenda Robertson. Shirley Dysart, the first leader of the Liberal Party. Elizabeth Weir, the first woman to lead in the legislature. Aldea Landry. And all the women who came before me to make tonight possible. C'est une occasion extraordinairement spéciale pour moi, pour mes trois filles, Molly, Paige, puis Brooke, et leurs amis qui sont ici aussi. There's so many young girls that thank you, Aldea, and Shirley and Elizabeth and Barbara. I have to thank my incredible team of candidates. We had the most amazing group of candidates, and I want to take a minute to recognize them. Gilles Lepage, Restegouche-Ouest, Guy Arsenault, Restegouche-Est, Margot Leblanc, René Lagacé, Luc Robichaud, Isabelle Thériault, Éric Mallet, Keith Chasson, Véronique Arsenault, Sam Johnson, Benoît Book, Jacques Leblanc, Robert Gauvin, John Hyam, Natasha Vautour, Rob McKee, Tanya Sodi, Claire Johnson, Scott Grant, Dave Guthrow. I keep working my way through. Connie Larson, Mark Hambrook. And keep going, keep going. We're now into St. John. David Hickey, David Alston, John Dornan, Allison Townsend, Aaron Kennedy, Kate Wilcott, Brian Stevenson, Patty Borthwick, Troy Lyons, Chris Duffy, Marissa Palkey, Julian Moulton, Luke Randall, Tanya Whitney, Joni Legier, Cindy Miles, Stephen Horseman. Got Chris Duffy. Got Cindy. I think I got it. John Herron. That's a risky move, trying to remember all 48 and just do it off the top of your head. I got Tanya, two Tanyas, Whitney and Sodi. We had an incredible team. My heart is broken for the people that we weren't able to elect tonight. I want to recognize those folks. I'm going to be talking to you soon. Thank you for standing up with our team and for New Brunswickers. And congratulations to my team members that won tonight. This is the hardest one, but it's the biggest one. I have to thank John Holt. This man who has been dying to be called Mr. New Brunswick. Et je vais le dire en français parce qu'il a pris 777 jours à apprendre le français.
And he spent 777 days learning French. He is working for you, New Brunswickers.
I couldn't do this without him. I know everyone in this room knows it, that I couldn't do this without him, that we couldn't do this without him. He is the other half of this little team Holt, and he puts his heart and soul into our family and our neighbors every day with very little thanks. He has believed in me since we were 16 years old. And I would not be here if it wasn't for him. So I love you. Thank you. Let's go. I also want to say two other particular things to these three amazing ladies, Molly, Paige, and Brooke. I am obviously incredibly proud of my girls. They have been phenomenal throughout this roller coaster, and there's going to be a roller coaster ahead. So I want to take a minute to ask the public and the media, my mama bear is going to come out, please treat my children with care. Because they are sacrificing for New Brunswick, and they are very special people, and I hope that you will treat them as gently as they deserve to be treated, as every kid in New Brunswick deserves to be treated. Tonight's results make it clear. New Brunswickers are ready for a change. Le Néo-Brunswickois veut un changement. Il veut quelque chose de différent de notre politique. Et c'est à nous de livrer une nouvelle politique. Parce qu'il y a des espoirs dans notre communauté. Il y a du monde qui nous a donné une opportunité avec une vision d'un travail collaboratif sur le terrain,
working together.
We don't take it lightly that you have put your trust in myself and my team, and that you have hope for a brighter future. But that hope I know is short-lived, and it is going to be on us to deliver authentically, on the ground, openly and transparently. It's going to be on us to bring the change that you're asking for every day and everything we communicate with you. But I know we can do it with teamwork. I know we can do it with a focus on the people of New Brunswick. The people of New Brunswick that are our biggest asset. C'est vous autres qu'on fait ce travail.
You are the ones that do the work.
Cette campagne a démontré qu'est-ce qu'on peut faire
This
avec une équipe qui
campaign
travaille
has shown
ensemble et qui
what
va
can happen with a team that works
région
together,
unie, chaque candidat
with
unique. We are
every
here to
candidate,
celebrate
every region
49
working
unique
together.
Candidates, 49 unique ridings that deserve to have a government that's going to treat their riding with respect and know that it's not going to be the same what we do in Moncton and the Miramichi. It's not going to be the same the politics we put in place for Saint John de Saint-Quentin, parce que notre province est la plus beau province du monde, du tour du
Because
Canada.
our province
Le
is
seul
the most
province
beautiful
bilingue.
province in Canada.
Notre province mérite un service
Our
local, un
province
gouvernement local
deserves
qui travaille sur le
local
terrain
service and
pour
local
vous avant
government
tout. Puis ça, c'est
that
qu'est-ce
are
que
there
l'équipe
for
va
you.
faire. Okay, last one. You're gonna skip ahead. Thank you. Couple commitments I want to make to you. We are going to lead with balance. We're going to watch the bottom line and deliver fiscal responsibility while we invest in the services that you need, like healthcare and education and an affordable place to call home. Nous allons avoir un gouvernement avec un équilibre. On va balancer le budget et on va investir dans vos priorités de soins de santé, du système d'éducation, du logement abordable,
Education,
pour que tout le monde
healthcare,
peut avoir une vie
and affordable
saine et
housing
abordable
so that
ici dans la belle
everyone can
province du
have an
Nouveau-Brunswick.
affordable life here in New Brunswick.
I love this province. I have loved this province since I was very little. And I got to wear a New Brunswick flag on a jacket when I was 12 years old and go out to Saskatchewan to sing the praises of this place, thanks to Philip Sexsmith and the amazing program that he put together. And then I got to put on a rugby jersey for New Brunswick when I was 17 and 18 years old. And I was so proud to wear our province's flag and compete in Canada with my colleagues. J'adore cette province. J'ai un gros amour pour cette
love
province.
this
Notre
province.
équipe,
I have a
l'équipe
deep
Holt,
love for this
adore cette
province.
province.
The whole
Je peux vous
team
assurer.
loves this province.
I love you. I love you, New Brunswick. And with me, you're going to get a leadership that listens and a leadership that cares, a leadership that will respect you, n'importe quelle langue vous parlez.
Whatever
No matter
language
who
you
you
speak.
love or how you identify, no matter where you live, no matter the color of your skin, n'importe quelle couleur de votre peau.
wherever you live, whatever the color of your skin, whomever you love, with a whole Liberal government, we're going to have the kind of leadership that you can trust.
You're going to have a leadership that loves you and that you can put your trust in. I ask you to put your trust in me and my team. I thank you for putting your trust in my team and we are going to do the very best we can. We are going to work our butts off on day one. A new day and a brighter future is coming to New Brunswick tomorrow. Merci beaucoup. Thank you. Waliwan. Walalin. Thank you.
Is it mercifully over? I feel like I'm going deaf. Like I have a headache from that.
Make it stop. Make it stop. Thank you. Oh, thank God. Whew. Okay. We're going to need to detox after that.
As little Angelica points out from behind the scenes at Rebel News, she said that room looks like a page out of a Where's Waldo book.
Actually, when you say it like that, oh, Rumble was just on fire with the comments. That's why I was giggling the entire time.
Oh my God, they're so funny. Some of them got clipped. I think it was Dave. Somebody said she looks and talks like Bette Midler, that irritating voice.
It's exactly what I thought too. It's exactly what I thought too. Oh my goodness.
Honor 234 said I need a test.
It's Fred Hahn's twin. Look, it's Fred Hahn's twin, right? Oh, yeah. Okay.
They all have a look, don't they? They all have a look. That lady looks like Fred Hahn's twin too. That one right there that she just kissed. That one looks like everybody looks like Fred Hahn from Cupid.
That lady, look at it. Like from the big chunky glasses.
The kid right there looks like a young Fred Hahn before his eyes went bad. Like look, there's the Fred Hahn lady in a plaid shirt. They're all going to turn into Fred Hahn from Cupid in about 30 years. It's the weirdest thing. There's something in the water there.
The Fred Hahn convention. The Fred Hahn convention in New Brunswick tonight. My God. No, it's like every single one of them said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get a bad haircut. Okay, I'm going to get a real bad haircut and a real bad color job, and I'm going to put on the brightest red Revlon lipstick that I can find, and I'm going to put on my thickest glasses, the thickest rim glasses that I can put. Oh, look at her husband's belt buckle! Look! Oh, you guys comment on that. I know that you have comments on that. Look!
Look at his belt buckle. Good eye.
If that
good
okay,
eye.
I'm sorry, but if that's not advertising some sort of thing going on in their marriage, I don't know what is. I'm sorry, but like, okay,
Well,
no.
The comments from the
Wow.
people on Rumble, like Honor 234 said, I need a testosterone shot. COVID Warrior 77 said, looks like a hair sniffer like Biden. Just
Oh my God, that belt buckle is like a welcome mat for,
yeah. I think it's Olivia who says that Ford needs to take asylum seekers from New Brunswick right away, and then we'll take the normals from Ontario, I guess. I thought I would.
Yeah.
Thought I would check in on my old friend Faye/Zach Johnstone and see what's up in Faye's, what's happening in Faye's world. Anyway, so I looked at Queer Momentum, which is Faye's group. Faye Johnstone, that's the dude who sits on the board of the YWCA.
Sorry.
Anyways, he says New Brunswick voters have spoken and they're sending a message that should echo across Canada. It won't, Faye. Don't worry. They don't want politicians targeting trans youth. They want action on affordability, healthcare, and housing. Actually, it's not one or the other. We can do both, as we're doing in Alberta and Saskatchewan. And I think actually this issue is one of the issues that propelled John Rustad to very near government after not even really being a party 50 weeks ago. So sorry, Faye.
In 1 year, that's exactly right. They moved mountains in BC in 1 year, and give them the next round. Give them the next round.
This is not an this is not an admonishment of Blaine Higgs pro-parent policies. This is just what the voters in New Brunswick do after 2 terms is they switch governments, and that's just it's predictable.
Predictable turn of events. Yeah.
It's funny. She mentioned that she was a rugby player when she was 17 or 18, but under her policies, 17 and 18-year-old girls could have their heads smashed in by boys who identify as girls.
And treat my children with care, she said, while she gives no shit about, pardon my language, while she gives no shit about the children of the parents of New Brunswick who are telling governments in their hundreds of thousands that they do not want their kids exposed to gender ideology in schools. Treat my children with care. That's rich.
Right.
And then trots them off on stage. And says, please, my children are exemplary and are very privileged, and please treat them with care. The nerve.
What I heard there, Suze, is that as a mother, you know what's best for your children. Right? You know what's best for your children, not other people. And you want to protect your children from the weight of the outside world. But you are promising to strip New Brunswick parents of that same right. We are supposed to defer to you about what is best for your children, but you will not defer to the mothers and fathers of New Brunswick the same. That's what I heard there.
Rules for thee, but not for me. It is a classic liberal move.
Actually, we can play that clip. Efron cut that on the spot for us, because I heard that and I was like, "Are you kidding me, sister? Are you kidding me?"
I think we both had a reaction.
Yeah. Let's play that clip just once more, because it was so shocking, because it's an admission that mothers know best, but apparently only Mother Susan and not the rest of us.
I also want to say 2 other particular things to these 3 amazing ladies, Molly, Paige, and Brooke. I am obviously incredibly proud of my girls. They have been phenomenal throughout this roller coaster, and there's going to be a roller coaster ahead. So I want to take a minute to ask the public and the media, my mama bear is going to come out, please treat my children with care. Because they are sacrificing for New Brunswick, and they are very special people, and I hope that you will treat them as gently as they deserve to be treated, as every kid in New Brunswick deserves to be treated.
It'd be a real shame. Oh.
That's probably good.
It'd be a real shame if a bunch of teachers came along and turned her girls into sons, don't you think? Be a real shame.
Yeah. Be a real shame. We've got one more. Efron cut another clip of Susan Holt basically claiming that now that there's a Liberal in charge, there's no racism in New Brunswick. It's just gone. It just vaporizes. It's like a palate cleanser for the hearts and minds of the bigots of New Brunswick now that the First Lady Premier of New Brunswick has been elected. Let's listen to this.
I love you. I love you, New Brunswick. And with me, you're going to get a leadership that listens, and a leadership that cares, a leadership that will respect you. N'importe quelle langue vous parlez.
Whatever language you speak.
No matter who you love or how you identify. No matter where you live. No matter the color of your skin. N'importe quelle couleur de votre peau.
Wherever you live, whatever the color of your skin, whomever you love, with a whole Liberal government, we're going to have the kind of leadership that you can trust.
You're going to have a leadership that loves you and that you can put your trust in. I ask you to put your trust in me and my team. I thank you for putting your trust in my team and I. We are going to do the very best we can. We are going to work our butts off on day one. A new day and a brighter future is coming to New Brunswick tomorrow. Merci beaucoup. Thank you. Williwan. Willallen.
Yelling. She is so shrill. Quit yelling. Efron points out it reminds us of that clip of Catherine McKenna screaming, yelling and screaming. And stop yelling. When you're a woman taking a microphone, read the room. We can be excitable, but we can't be like shrieking into a microphone. It doesn't work for us.
Yeah, because men and the general public love nothing more than a shrill woman screaming that they love them. And you know what? I just want to say how hard it creeps me out, okay, when politicians say that they love me, okay, or that
No,
they
I don't
love
want
my
them to love
kids.
me. I don't want them to know that I exist, because
No,
a
no,
politician that cares about me isn't busy enough.
or that we have a leadership that loves you. I just think that it is the seventh level of weird for politicians to say that they love people. Like, who was it in Alberta with the was it Janice Irwin? Janice Irwin, you know, what of Alberta wants everybody to know that she just loves their kids. She just loves them. So does Nenshi. Nenshi loves the kids of Alberta, and I'm just like, that's weird.
No,
That's
don't.
crazy. Stop
Don't.
saying that. Stop
No,
saying that.
I don't want a politician to love me. I don't want a government to love me. I want a government to treat me like I don't exist. I want to be completely left alone. If you are a government that cares how I've structured my family or what I'm up to on a day-to-day basis, you are a government that is far too big, and thus should be every 3 out of every 2 of you should be fired.
I want a government to A, respect me, and B, fear me. And in that order. Yes.
It's
I don't
Efron, did you get that? Put that in the store.
I want a government that to respect me and to fear me, in that order. Yes. I don't I can source my own love from my own angle. Thanks very much. Love is not part of this equation, and nor should it be. It's creepy. Anyway.
We've got the clip of Catherine McKenna shrieking about how she deceives the public, just so you can understand that this is a symptom. This is a disease afflicting liberal women, and we tweet for the cure. Tweet for the cure, because it's insufferable to listen to in an earbud. I'll tell you that much right now.
I'm just gonna take it out a little bit. Okay, go.
Take one out. Yeah. Ugh. Feel bad for the fish.
So here I am at Christian's Pub in St. John's, and you won't believe who I have here. Mark Critch here, and I've got Chef Lukey, and I got screeched in, so it's really amazing. But the funny thing is, so you think like it's amazing, you get screeched in, you hear all these facts about Newfoundland, and what the hell are they doing now? They're fighting about the facts about Newfoundland, and did they really get them right? So what's the discussion now, boys?
What we were talking about is St. John's, the oldest city in North America.
And there's some debate about that.
He was saying that it could be Missouri, but we firmly believe it is, because there's nobody from Missouri here.
But you know, I actually gave them some real advice. I said that if you actually say it louder, we've learned in the House of Commons, if you repeat it, if you say it louder, if that is your talking point, people will totally believe it. So just go it. St. John's, oldest city.
Perfect. It's on the sign right now. You don't have to change the thing.
You don't have to change the sign. Thank God.
Awesome. Perfect.
If you say it loud enough, they'll believe it. So that's why you get this disease of liberal women yelling at you all the time.
She sounds like a 20-year-old frat boy. Did you?
Yes.
Yeah, boy. It's like what? Oh,
Look at her,
look at her
yelling.
And we learned it in the House of Commons that if you say it loud enough, like they will believe you.
I know. She's off to catch some tasty waves.
Well,
Yeah.
kiss some fish is what she's doing.
Yeah.
Oh
she got
my. Well,
reached in. I felt bad for the fish. I did.
you're gonna have to throw that one away. Why does this fish smell like Catherine McKenna?
Stop. Okay, you know what? Efron tells me that we have no more chats left, no more ads. So I think we can wrap up the show. I've held you hostage for the better part of 3 hours, Lise.
Well, I love being held hostage by you, Sheila Gunn Reid, anytime.
Yes, you have abducted me before. It's true. Just thanks so much for always taking the time to jump on with my friends here at Rebel News. You're quickly becoming a fan favorite. I know that the staff are becoming as big Lise fans as I am. So I know our viewers feel the same way. I guess we'll do this Saskatchewan election night, whenever that is. 28th.
On the 28th of October. Yeah, the 28th of October. We'll be doing this all again. And that will be juicy. Oh, man. I'll give you all the inside goods on everybody.
Okay, I can't wait.
Okay,
Olivia, no, wait. Don't
Oh.
sign off quite yet. At least Olivia tells me that we have a chat from Rocky Mountain Duke. This
I
is
love
$5.
him.
Yes, I do.
I love
Funny
him.
dude. Funny dude. Gives $5 and says, "Thank you, Sheila and Lise. Great stream. I know these are a huge commitment, but I'm really liking the election streams. Not the outcome we wanted, but a real wake-up call." Yeah, every vote counts. And yes, these are a huge commitment. Lise and I get to sit here and basically you are seeing our text message exchange read out in the form of a stream. This is how we talk every single day. But there is a lot of work that happens behind the scenes. From Olivia, Efron, the social media team, the web editors, to make sure that the show is available for you to watch and click on and share whenever you want to do that. So special thanks to all the team behind the scenes. And Elise, we're shooting the breeze. This is what we do all day, every day.
No, seriously, this is the easiest, most natural thing that we do. It really is just a continuation of our actual organic relationship. So we found soul sisters in each other when we met 12 years ago on Twitter. We're just keeping going with the flow.
That's right. And now we're taking the rest of you along for the ride. But we should wrap up the show. You have a whole house full of kids to get back to, and a husband who's probably waiting for you to tap back in. And I know I have to go upstairs and possibly have something to eat. Lise, thanks so much again. As always, you're just a real delight to have on the stream. Thanks to everybody who works behind the scenes. Thanks to everybody who chatted along with us on Rumble, who pitched in a little bit to keep the lights on. And I'll have Lise back on the show on Saskatchewan election night. And as my friend David Menzies always says, stay safe and stay sane.